Hello everyone, and welcome to the Game Design Archive with Edvard and Ludwig and SpidersSTG today. How are you doing?
Doing great, gentlemen. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. Thanks for joining us.
You got it. I can't believe we all were the same thing.
Yeah,
How
exactly.
embarrassing.
Yeah, like it wasn't even planned. It just happened. Yeah.
Just a coincidence.
Yeah. So, for those of you, because we might have some viewers that don't know anything about you, do you want to introduce yourself? Maybe what do you do?
I play games and make videos about it.
Yeah, you make some excellent videos.
That's the surface level. On the deep level, I'm trying to discover and reveal the occult mysteries of video gamings and all things in the universe.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean that sounds pretty reasonable.
That's the iceberg.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like one of the things that I find really interesting about your videos. Actually, it's like because like there are a lot of channels that make really great videos, like the Electric Underground and stuff like that. But when I watch your video, it's like you're not talking to my mind, you're talking to my soul, right?
That's the best compliment ever.
Yeah. So your videos are like really unique and nice in that way.
Thank you.
And I hope we get into some So I was about to say soul-crushing discussions today, but that's the wrong word.
We can go wherever. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe let's start out with what have you been playing recently?
Real recently, so
or whatever you want to talk about. Any game you want to talk about.
Yeah, sure. No, like number one is I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons: Shadow of Mystara, and I'm playing that for a 1 credit clear, and and the reason I'm doing that, well, besides it's an awesome game, is that I'm working on this Absalom video. Absalom, we all know what it is.
Yeah.
And I found that again, like kind of where you mentioned, where like speaking to the player's soul. I think that a lot of gaming discussion ends up going to the objective space and the object space. We talk about the game, and even when we're talking about things that we don't like, we refer to it as something about the game that's a problem, not something about us that's a good or bad or whatever. It's, you know. So I think that trying to do it from the player point of view as much as possible, and like it's very easy for me to say, I like the beat 'em up fundamentals, the roguelite stuff. These are problems. Well, why is it a problem? And I'm looking at it in terms of like observing my mind through these processes. So I played Absalom in a very stubborn way. I also, with you guys, we're all on the same board. I kind of hate meta progression and shop systems and things like that. Like they really get on my nerves. And my solution has been just to ignore them if I can, for as long as possible. Like, do I need to do this stuff anyway, like at all? And basically almost like turning all these roguelites, what do they say, like if life gives you roguelites, make them roguelike. So I don't do the shot, I don't do meta progression stuff. If I die, I start from scratch. And I played that way for maybe like 25 hours. And so I have that, how that feels, right? And then I'm like, all right, let me go with the flow and do all that stuff. And I have that observation. And it's funny because I've been listening to you guys a lot for catching up all this stuff.
Thank you.
And it's just but right in sync. And I guess for anyone who is not familiar with you guys that is watching, for Mr. Personality over here, is that you guys are just like everything. I'm just not like yeah. You guys have amazing, just like amazing in-depth analysis and insights.
Well, thank you.
And like broad knowledge, like you're going from like some like CRPGs to Final Fight. It's just so cool, and games that I'm not like super familiar with, like Counter-Strike and things like that. It's just super cool. But one of the things that I think about was actually in the value of your time episode that you guys did. I took a little bit of notes where you I think Ever mentioned like binge watching TV shows, right, and what that feels like. And the one thing that if I was, fly on the wall, is that you can observe this. Everyone can observe this themselves. If you binge watch a comedy show, you don't stop liking it, but you stop laughing after a while. Like after like a couple episodes, it's just like, and you don't really react. You're just in this like attenuated state of there's no peaks, there's no valleys. You're just you're in that state. And that happened in Absalom. That happened with that like it hit a peak state. And then it's just like nothing. Like you don't feel like because you don't feel the crushing of defeat, you actually get rewarded for losing. And then so just like attenuates the experience. And then the peak of the experience becomes the synergy part, not the fundamental part, not the beat 'em up part. It's just rolling the dice, and am I going to get my lucky synergies that like eradicate bosses and broken builds? And then I wanted to compare that to like, I guess what ended up being the closest analogy, and it's like shocking. Like it was just luck that I found it, but it is, you know, Absalom can be looked at as a not a remake, but definitely a reconstruction of Shadow of Mystara.
Okay.
They're incredibly similar games, which is also annoying because the Super Monks people who just got liquidated today, I think.
Oh, no.
So it's just like I just saw it on someone just sent me the thing. I'm like, whoa. But Super Monks in interviews were like, oh, we're doing Golden Axe. It's like you did Mystara. You didn't even know what was going on in your own place. You just like to draw the pictures, and these guys made Mystara. They did nothing to do Golden Axe besides the mounts, but. So that's a game that I'm really playing, and then comparing all those mental states to what it is, and just observing my mind. It's got nothing to do with like, oh, this mechanic here is like this mechanic here, and this. I mean, some of that, but really, I want to like, what is the state of being? Because when we do talk about these games, you know how it is talking about people that are like, well, oh, just do this or just like that, or why you like that. You know, it's like I'm talking about my mental. I'm talking about like the what can I observe that's happening to me? Because then there's stark contrast between playing these games in these different ways. Playing Absalom in against the current way to do no meta progression to try to clear. Actually, it's a loop, so you have to beat the loop. You have to beat it once and then play it again, not upgrade anything, and then play the TLB. Right, that whole thing, playing it as the straight up roguelike kind of candy gambling game, and then doing Mystara, which is, you know, debatably a quarter muncher, but it becomes this complete different experience when you play it, what I think properly, to beat it with 1 credit. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm like in now. I'm done juggling other stuff. I don't play it once in a while. I'm like, okay, time to get it. And listening to you guys has been like a secret buff. I told Edward I got a 2cc. I got a 2cc yesterday. Listening to it, and I'm like, all right, maybe this is like the secret sauce. And then today, right on Sin, right on the last boss, I got my first. I'm like, I screwed up before then, which is again one of the great things about beat 'em ups is the way they're done. It's like your mistake is so much further back, and you have to deal with those consequences. But yeah, so I got 1 credit to the final boss, and I'm like, oh, I can just taste it. I got plenty of more episodes to listen to make sure I get it.
Yeah.
We try to pump out the content for you guys.
What have you guys been playing?
Well, if you watched the last few episodes of the podcast, you'll know that I'm grinding Devil Daggers. I'm very close now. 485 seconds. So 15 seconds left until I beat it. Yeah, hopefully soon. But it's been going slow. I haven't had that much time to play video games. I've been busy with other stuff. But whenever I have time. And then I've also dipped my toes back into Emerald Blue because I played that like when it came out a little bit.
Yes.
And I never finished it. So I'm like kind of preparing to like when I'm done with Devil Daggers, I'm moving over to that. So I'm like dipping my toes into it a little bit now.
They finalized it now, so it's a go.
Yeah,
proper
exactly.
1.0, which is kind of like cool, but it's frustrating when you're playing a game and then you find out that the update's coming.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, I'm not gonna play now. Like, I'll just wait for the update.
Yeah. It's really nice. The dev for that game, or are there several devs? I don't know. But they seem to be very, very like receptive to feedback, right? Because one of the like main things that I complain about, and I know that a lot of people complain about, was like the menu structure, which was like super weird because you had to like go into the settings to do the practice mode and stuff like that. And that update fixes all of that, so it's like very nice to play now.
So, I don't know if it was like a purposeful homage to like Dojin games where it's like, I use this other app to like do it, and I'm like messing around with like
debug UI window, like let's do practice mode.
Like, when I first got it, and I was psyched, and I forgot a buddy of mine who was help play testing it. Oh, I forgot who it was, but they sent it. They like, oh, check this out. And I'm like, I'm gonna buy it just to support these guys, you know, no matter what. And I couldn't play it for like weeks. I'm like, all right, I get this thing running on my system. But no, that was a really nice kind of like surprise. That's cool. Like we see a lot of shmup devs who are doing stuff like they're talking about it, so you kind of know it's a project, you know they're working on it, and then these things just come out of nowhere, and it's so cool when you see it, and they really know what they're doing. It's really exciting to see.
Yeah, it's
Edward, what are you playing?
Oh, well, right now I'm playing mostly Gunvein Expert, trying to go for that. Yeah, I got inspired after talking to Bogo. I did the defense back a while back, but now I'm trying to get Expert. and it's kicking my ass. So
it's nasty. It's because it's nasty, but there's also like something about that was a clear that I got like super early on, just kind of like being on fire, is that you can sort of in the zone and just nail it, and then you think you're hot stuff, and then the second you come back, it just kicks your ass. It's a very hard game to like. You can't really memorize it. You sort of have to like familiarize yourself with it, and that can be a lot.
Mm-hmm.
What ship type do you use?
C.
C? Okay.
Yeah.
Is it that the filthy scrub ship?
Yeah, it's the filthy scrub ship.
I found type B the easiest.
Yeah.
Just I thought it was just very easy. Maybe just because I've played a lot of like lock-on style games, especially that big lock-on. So it just made a lot of sense to me. Type C I found to be the most fun ship, but I found it to be difficult. So I wouldn't assume it's easy because it's got some broken stuff in it, because you still have to think differently.
No, my reason is way more shallow. It's because of the like sound, like the sound from when you do the lock-ons. It's too. I don't like it, but when you shoot the green blob, it's like way more impactful. So I'm picking that one.
That's not nothing. You know, like your brain is searching for like handholds.
Yeah.
Certain stuff. So if a like I just saw, and this kind of like I've never thought about even doing it, but I've seen two people in the last couple of days talk about turning off the voices in different cave shooters. Like it never even occurred to me to do that.
Yeah, I saw that too.
I saw someone mentioned it somewhere in my thing, and then I was watching a Gus replay of practicing like Futari, the Futari boss, and he's just like, I turned this off, and it's actually helpful to have it on, but he's like, I'm not dealing with it. I'm like, all right, it never even occurred to me to do that stuff. So it's just like I don't know, interesting.
Yeah, no, sound is definitely important.
Yeah, or unimportant if it's distracting you. Like I was playing there's like a LSA squad. I'm like, I gotta turn the soundtrack off. This is making me. This feels like I'm in some kind of like MK Ultra experiment. I can't be doing this.
Yeah.
And then I'm playing the new Star Fox too. So I mean, like very casually, just like we got to switch to here, and I don't do anything with it. Like barely do anything with it. So you almost feel like, well, I gotta get something for it. And I'm enjoying it. I like Star Fox. But it's one of those things where, and I think you guys have talked about this too, where you sort of like, you're like born again in gaming. So you have this like casual past.
Yeah.
And it's hard to reconcile that thing. It's very easy to be like, oh, I love Star Fox. I played all the things. But like, I don't even think I knew, I didn't even know that you can like lock on cancel. I didn't know that. I didn't know that until this now. So now I got to go back and look at it like with like a kind of like a fresh eye. So I'm loath to say anything about what I used to think, because I haven't re-examined it yet. But as of now, I'm like, okay, I'm enjoying it. I do wonder what the point is, and I think the price is like, if you are, I guess, people who buy a lot of games or that really think of games in terms of like, you know, it's an annoying discussion. We could talk about that, but like, cause it's like $50. Like I can't tell you what $50 is worth, but to me, I don't spend any money on games at all. So $50 is like, you know, it's really not a big deal, you know. And Star Fox has been a thing that people have been playing. I've come back to it for years and years and years and years and years. I don't understand the disposableness of, it's like you buy a piece of furniture and then you have it for years, and then you got to sort of like value it in that kind of a sense.
Yeah,
I think everyone has it so backwards.
Yeah,
but that's been pretty cool. That's been a pretty fun casual game. Oh, and then what else? Oh, no, on that I've been playing Zero Gunner 2 minus. Again, to use the Switch, which is also like, it's not, I mean, if you can get, I'd play the original, you know, but like on a handheld, if you're just kind of like screwing around, like it's really good. I'm surprised more people didn't talk about that game in the context of the Psycheo collection. It's usually just like, oh, the lag for the arcade games, but they made like basically a brand new version of Zero Gunner 2. It's easier, but it's really good. Like it's still zero. It's still, well, most of it. It's called Zero Gunner 2 minus for a reason, but like it's a really solid game. And especially when you get those, you can get that whole collection for probably like $8 on a sale. It's a really good title.
Cool.
Yeah. There was one thing you mentioned there in your I don't want to say rant because that sounds mean, but in your
no, it's fine. I'm used to it. I suppose it's like rambling.
Rambling is perhaps the better word, which I find really interesting. This like born again gamer kind of thing. That's like, because I think you mentioned in I don't know if it was one of your videos or like in a podcast or something like that, but you didn't used to be very into arcade games, right? Or maybe you were a little bit, or
no. So I grew up with arcade games. So like arcade game is the native space for gaming. So for me, so much so that when like when I first encountered the consoles, my friend had it. I never had it, and I was literally like, I was like 4 or 5. I was scared to play on this weird alien cross pad. Like it made no sense to me that I only played the Zapper games, and it wasn't until I was able to get one like a year or so later. And then when I was by myself and no one could see me die in Mario on the first pit, I was like so anxious about it. Then I learned how to do it. You know, so it's like the opposite of what like a lot of people who come into arcade are like, I get a stick and it feels so alien. I actually had the exact opposite feeling of that. So I've always liked arcade games, but I would still consider that in like a casual sense. The only like hardcore arcade games I really got into were fighting games. So I played at the most serious Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. I played I guess for me the most seriously, like thousands and thousands of hours. I'd play in tournaments and things like that. But like, and I liked arcade stuff. And I think I got kind of swept into the JRPG stuff. Like I had a Super Nintendo, which I think kind of like prepares you or grooms you, so to speak, for the JRPG stuff. So that just became, and rentals was a big thing too. So it was like, if you could beat a game in a weekend, or at least like credit feed through a game in a weekend, you didn't want to buy it anymore. You're just like, well, I'm done with it. Yeah. Which is a mentality that still somehow exists today. So it feels like devalued. It's like, well, I got through it. I saw the ending. So when it was time for like a birthday or a Christmas present or something where you're like, I want this game that I can spend, that I will have for 70, 80, 120 hours. So I got really into like JRPGs. And then when I was an adult and buying my own stuff, I found very quickly that well, not very quickly, but when I started working a lot and I didn't have a lot of time, I found that like I would need literally a vacation to play Final Fantasy X. Yeah. But what would happen is I'm like, well, I'm really tired. Let me play like Pac-Man CE for half an hour. Let me play Geometry Wars. And that'd be 4 hours later, 5 hours later. Or the Capcom collection, I would play all those, like all the Capcom arcade games, and just hours would go by. And I'm like, I like these better. So I can apply the same, it was that was kind of like a revelation for me. So I've always liked arcade games, but I think I always also slip back into just the mainstream stuff. I always get sucked back in. And when I say mainstream, I am talking about like Rez and Braid and Hollow Knight. Like these aren't underground titles, you know. Like if you're paying attention, if you're into the medium, you're also into the media. So you kind of like take whatever they give you, and you're like, oh yeah, Walking Dead by Telltale, that sounds really good. And then you play, and you're like, oh my god, I guess I'm an idiot. This game sucks. But like, so I would always look for like, well, if it's 10, let me buy it. So I was always like a big generalist. I thought I was an expert. That's how I felt about it. And I was working in retail at the time, so it was good to have knowledge of everything. But I'm like, oh, I'm a gaming expert. And it's like, I suck at all these games and just end up with really bad taste. And then I'd get pulled back. Like Ninja Gaiden Black was a big, I don't like the term red pill, but that was like an early one. Dark Souls was one. But I mean, I'm sorry, Demon Souls. Demon Souls was like the big one. That's the one that stuck the most, I think. And then Street Fighter 3 Third Strike when we got a bunch of people playing it, and then we also got into the Capcom arcade collection. So we were doing like keep trying to play like Ghosts and Goblins and Ghouls and Ghosts again. So it was always there, and I couldn't tell you what really broke the dam for me in terms of like the mainstream stuff, where I was just so fed up with it. It was actually it was probably Hades. Like I enjoyed Hades a lot. Like I really enjoyed playing it, and I played Hades was my personal version of like everyone had the COVID lockdown. I don't know what it was like with you guys, but we had this thing in America called like essential workers, which was like I worked in retail. Like I wasn't like I'm not a doctor.
Well, you need to sell stuff.
Yeah. I'm just selling. Yeah, I'm literally. Like I just work at retail, but I was essential, so everybody got to like watch Tiger King and learn Chinese and paint watercolor paintings, and I just had to work. My life didn't change at all, except for like just crazy anxiety being beamed into my face. And it was, and then that company got laid off, or like laid everybody off after everything. So my 2021 was like my I'm doing COVID now. I'm doing DoorDash. I'm giving you tips, calling you like you're a hero. Get out of my face. Like I'm doing all that stuff. And Hades was that game that I would play for like till my eyes bled. Play it, but it was at some point I realized I'm like, oh, I'm not getting any better at this game. The game's getting easier. And by the time it's all said and done, I'm like, and now you turn on the challenge with the heats. I'm like, what happened? I just felt like abused in a way. Like I felt like tricked. Bamboozled, and I was just like, oh man, I don't know what this stuff is anymore.
Yeah,
like, and it kind of gave me that feeling for like run based stuff, And then I don't know, like I don't know where I was kind of like going with whatever else I was playing. But then yeah, once that dam broke and I started playing like old school games and arcade and like the quote unquote trial and error stuff, and it all started to click online. And then when I hit shmups, it was like off to the races. Yeah. Everything made sense to me about all the things that I want and desire in games. Mm-hmm. That's been it for years. I played nothing but shmups, and then just more recently, maybe like within the last year, I started like, well, what other things are cool? What other genres kind of? What other things were always there, like always in front of my face that I just didn't care to ever? I'm just like, oh, those are dumb, those are old, those aren't cool anymore. And it's like, but they're still around. Like, what else is like that? And how much stuff is just it's like yeah. Once you see like one thing that everyone's kind of doesn't know shit, it's full of shit about, you know, and you know something about, then you're like, they're probably full of shit about everything, kind of, right? Mm-hmm. So I started looking at like dungeon RPG blobbers. I was looking at, I'm like, these games are essentially the same thing that they were since the beginning. You know, well, at least until you get into it. Once you get into it, you're like, oh, they are making them a lot softer, more accessible. Yeah. But and then going into old arcade games now, like I can go even, I can go back to like the 81, 82, 83 and really enjoy this stuff and really like really get into it, and I'm not like allergic to the primitiveness anymore. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I guess that's where I'm at now. Every once in a while, I'll touch some like mainstream stuff, but I always get burned by it. I'm always like. Yeah. Every dollar I've spent the last couple of years is a game I played. Maybe bought it for a $60 game. I played it for like an hour. I'm like, I'm done. Yeah. I can't. That's usually how it is. I can't with this stuff. Yeah. Remnant 2 was brutal because I really liked Remnant 1, and like it was like an hour tutorial. I'm like, when is this game going to start? And I just never touched it again. I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it's great.
Yeah.
Which
I
can't play it. Is that the shooter with the random generation?
Yeah. It's like the Dark Souls of kind of like. But Remnant 1 was real. I got it for, I think it was a free game on PlayStation, and that was really good. So I was really excited for part 2.
Yeah, I remember that as well.
Again,
I played the first one, and I played it with some friends, and it was like pretty decent. Yeah. But then the second one was just a bunch of story and stuff, and I was like.
Yeah, I don't know how far you got into it, but yeah, after like an hour of I was just talking and like introducing the shops. Like, here's a shop, but you got to talk for 2 hours about why it's there. I'm like, dude.
Because it was funny, the first one. Like, I feel like they wanted more like progression, but they didn't like have time. So the game actually got better because they didn't.
Actually made it good. Yeah. No, 100%. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was one thing you mentioned really interesting about like Hades, how that was like the straw that broke the camel's back, or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like, you know, both me and Edward are quite young, and we're also from Sweden, which doesn't have an arcade culture whatsoever, basically. Sure. So like. We never had that like point of reference at all. We were like, you know, we were playing the mainstream stuff. I don't think
it ever existed in Sweden.
Yeah, in Sweden.
Like it was never a thing before, like us either, right? So like.
Yeah, I think
it's just not at all.
Yeah,
not even
I think
random.
I read somewhere. I'm not sure. I haven't fact checked this, but I did read somewhere. So correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But I think like arcade machines in Sweden were like under the same kinds of laws as slot machines. So
Okay. So like
you basically had to get like a gambling license in order to have like an arcade machine. So like nobody got
in Germany.
Yeah.
And probably other like little kind of like pockets in Europe and stuff.
Yeah, and so we basically don't have an arcade culture, but we have like a really, really strong like console gaming and PC gaming culture.
Yeah.
And so like it's very much reflected in like the types of games Swedish people play. It's like it's first-person shooters, or it's like, you know, whatever Xbox or PlayStation game is popular, and then like a bunch of like CRPGs and strategy games and stuff
Nintendo
like that. So it's like
get boom though. Like they didn't. I feel like they didn't used to have that, but these days Nintendo is also really popular in Sweden.
Yeah.
At what point? What system was the one that broke?
Probably Switch. I want to say Switch. I don't. Maybe I am wrong here, but I feel like it wasn't.
I think the Nintendo DS was pretty popular.
Oh, as well. DS as well. Yeah.
So like coming in from like the handheld space. Yeah. I think the UK had a similar trajectory with that as well. No, I find this so fascinating. Like, I think that it's something that we don't talk about is like the regional cultures of stuff.
Yeah.
Which is like, so you guys are a little bit younger, so I'll put my unk tie on. But like when I was growing up, things were different based on where you were. You know, like if I was going in America, I mean, America's massive. I'm sure you guys know that. I think it's just massive. Yeah. So you're going from like, if you're going from like, I live in like the Northeast, like the New York area. If you're going down south, if you're going even into like Virginia, up north, like further up north into New England, it's just everything's so different, and I mean like so different down to like dialect, the way people behave, the way people greet you, what kind of businesses are around, what kind of like stuff is around, like everything's different, and it was so cool. And it was reflected. I think the most interesting to me at the time when I was younger was in music. So every scene would have a different kind of music and a different kind of like adaptation of. So I was into like punk rock, but the punk rock sounded different everywhere else. And it was usually based on the bands that were big there at the time, because it was just like you couldn't just like look up what you can just look up and find things. It had to be like in your record store, or like your brother told you about it, or something like that. So like the fact that we weren't connected made everything more like just diverse and interesting in that kind of a way. And now it's like everywhere is the same. And I swear, like, if there's not palm trees, everywhere's New Jersey. It's just everything's the same. Everyone's the same stores. Everyone's the same opinions. Everyone just like, oh, what's the best thing? And you just see the top 10 list. And everything's been like really flattened in that kind of a way. And all the regional stuff is starting to act, it seemed like cosplaying, you know, which is again, like we have like, there's, I mean, obviously, you know, most people here weren't born here or like aren't like ancestrally from here, but we all have like a pride. It's very sportish pride, you know. It's like Italian pride. It's like your family hasn't been in Italy in like 1,000 years, like. But so we have this kind of like caricature of that kind of stuff. But in games, I think we're learning, and as we're connected, we're learning that we do have these very different tastes. Like the Europe, generically, like Europe didn't have the console stuff the way that America did, the way that Japan did. So you see like a lot more of the microcomputer hobbyist type. So they have that PC stuff, but then they also have the Amiga animator multimedia thing, which I think we're all kind of suffering right now without realizing it, is that we have a lot of animators making games as like the game is the tie-in to the animation project they want to do, which is I think what happened with Super Monks, to be perfectly honest. And like Japan had the arcade culture, really the real arcade culture. Even in America, we had like this like other version of it. We didn't treat it with the same kind of reverence or have like the 1cc culture and stuff like that. Brazil has like, I think, the most interesting gaming culture probably in the entire world, because it's a gaming's like what, like illegal basically. They only had like really? But they only had like the way that the way they like I think it's something to do with the way that their importing tax was and the way that the laws are. So like MSX got through. I'm pretty sure it was MSX, and then they were able to license their own version of the Sega stuff. And then also the entire black market like exploded. So they're just so, it's so prevalent in Brazil that, at least this is from what I understand, that like to be a hipster in Brazil is to be into mainstream cozy indie games. You know what I mean? Like they're so sick of how into like the Mega Drive era everybody is. They're like, dude, this is like the normie stuff, is to be into emulation.
You need to play some Red Dead Redemption, bro.
It's so weird. And then like if you're into fighting games, we learn about like the Pakistani fighting game culture, where they're like building these machines from like other parts of machines, and just ended up with this amazing like really amazing Tekken talent that came from there. So I think that's so interesting. And yeah, I know nothing about Sweden except for House Marquee, and I think that's it. They're from Sweden. Yeah. I'm not wrong with that, right?
What games are they?
I think they're from Finland, actually.
Okay, never mind. Then I'm being
But the thing is, like, you're not wrong. Like, there's it's insane, because there is like gaming culture is massive in Sweden, but we don't produce anything of value.
Huh? I said anything of value.
Yeah. It's actually like I wouldn't be surprised, like, if per capita in the world we're like in the top 3 of like amount of gamers and like amount of game studios.
Yes.
But all of it's like mainstream crap, and like AAA crap, and like, you know, bunch of like roguelike deck builder, synergy builder stuff. Okay. It's very, very interesting. And like me and Edward have discussed this a lot, like off podcast, and like we're thinking like, I think one of the big reasons for it is that Sweden never had an arcade culture.
Yeah. It's
too
young in Sweden. Like
exactly. And so I think in general Sweden is very like, you know, if you look at Swedish music, it's also like the only thing we export is like hyper popular pop music that's generic true. And stuff like that. So it's maybe not only games, right? But it's like
so like Miles also like there's no like black metal in Sweden?
Maybe a little bit, but it's like not internationally popular. I don't think so. Because
Well, yeah,
like
I said,
Sweden
it's
has
if it's
like
internationally popular, it's in the niche. It's in the niche.
yeah.
In the other place.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because what I'm thinking of is like, you know, Max Martin, the music guy. He's from Sweden, for example.
Okay.
Like he's produced like all of the songs ever, right?
I've
and
seen a
stuff
lot
like
of
that.
synth stuff attached to like at least Swedish looking.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of synth stuff. Yeah. But it's very interesting because like whenever I like you know, if I like find a new designer or whatever you want to call it, like very often when I hear them, if I ever hear them speak about like their past, they will go like, oh yeah, when I was a kid, I used to go to the arcade. I would beg my mom for money and then I would put the coins in the machines and I would play it.
Yeah.
And it's like every time like a good designer talks about their past with gaming, they say that. And it's like, there has to be something to it, right? There has to be something to like, these games are like very, very, very special.
I do think so. I think it's the economic model. I'm starting to think of it more and more and more and more. You know, like it doesn't matter if we're in the model of it now. Like we're not obviously it's like that's not that is not how the business works today. But like it created the pressure systems and it created the things like it just made everything into diamonds. It just had to. You know, like your game, you like everyone like just the way the competition of it works is that nothing on a console could survive that kind of scrutiny, whether the game's good or not. You know, like we were talking about with Remnant 2, it's because the $60 to me was like quarter worth. I don't think about it that way. That it's like, yeah, I will walk away from this game and never play it. I don't feel like I owe it anything. I don't feel like a cost fallacy to it or anything like that. And I'm starting to think more and more that at least like in our like, you know, I still think like American. I think a lot of this is American driven. And if it's not like the thought coming from America, it's response to America. I see that a lot with like European discussion and YouTubers and stuff. And it's always like reflexively at kind of the like America was the biggest consumer. It doesn't matter if they're what they're making. It matters what they're consuming, you know, and that kind of like sets the tone. So it's always the target. So it doesn't matter like the Japanese culture, sure. But they're still trying to get that bite of the burger, right?
Yeah.
But then that is sort of like it's not wrong how America sets the narrative for stuff, and like Europeans can keep trying to be like, oh no, Super Mario Croc was really the first 3D. It's like, no, shut up, no one cares about Croc. Like Super Mario 64 is what set it is the setter, even if it's not the like original first thing. But more to the point is that the like the $50, $60 boxed product, I think kind of like set something off in the mind as like the speed of light as far as like game value. Like nothing can break it. The idea that you would spend more than $60 putting quarters into a game is like doesn't even make sense, and it's like offensive. But it's so backwards when you think about it, because it's like you can walk away at any point. So if you were playing God of War Ragnarok quarter per quarter, now obviously you can't die in that game because it's brain dead. But like pretend that you had to do it on a timer, pretend you had to do it in any other kind of a way, or pretend it actually challenged you. That there was something that would be like, okay, I got to overcome these things, or every time I sat down, I have to put another some amount of money in. Would you keep going to the end? And why would you keep going to the end? And it's like probably to see the story. How many bad shows do you watch? You're like, well, I'm almost done. Let me just finish this season out. And you're like, I wish I didn't do that. I didn't need to watch the last season of Lost. I didn't need to watch the last season of Game of Thrones. That was a waste of time. But if you had to pay for each one, you might be like, and pay a real stake, you might be like, maybe I'm done. Maybe I'm out.
Yeah.
So I think that psychology of the console box product is kind of, doesn't matter where you came from. That's everybody's stuck in it. It's like the fish and water thing.
Yeah. Well, I do feel like going into this thing with like, you know, mainstream games being super easy. I think, or like rather, I think the focus on like player retention, right? I think that's very interesting because a lot of the times when I play these mainstream, sorry, I'm like, I want to say something and I don't know how to say it. So like, a lot of game designers will say, you know, oh, you want to optimize for flow and you don't want to disrupt the player experience and you don't want the player to die because then they might be angry and quit the game or whatever. And I think what I realized when I like a few years ago, when I like started getting into more like actually good games, what I realized was that like I'm playing these games and I'm kind of like you described in the beginning. Like I'm kind of playing them, but I'm not really thinking about it. I'm just like going through the motions. I'm just like sitting there, kind of brain dead, not thinking about anything. And then when I die, I realize like, holy crap, this is a waste of my time. I'm gonna close the game. So I think there is like the designers that say, oh yeah, you shouldn't let the player die. You like retention is number one. You don't want to disrupt the experience. They are right in a sense because you know, if I didn't die there, I would keep playing. Even though it's a total waste of my time.
It's funny. It's like the exact it's the exact inversion of the person who thinks a game is too hard, so they want to stop playing. Yeah. It's like the exact. It's the same thing, but the other side of the coin is that you're so numb, and then when you're woken up, you're like, "What am I doing?"
Yeah, exactly.
So stupid. And they're just like they're so desiring to be numb that when they can't be numb, they're just like, "Oh," and then the game's and then they die, and they're like, "Okay, I don't want to do that again."
Yeah, exactly. You like get a single second to think clearly, and you're like, what the fuck? It's like post-death clarity, even.
Kind of dazed. And that's realized, and that is exactly what happened with like Absalom. Was I realized that I kept the loop, and I mean, like Hades, I think probably pioneered this more than anybody. You know, like it should be. I'll get into like at least vague definitions of roguelite, which is also its own kind of like complete, I think, psyop. But the Hades is the smoothing out of that, like somehow losing just is like barely a bump, and also like exciting. So you can just really find yourself in that, like it's not a flow in the sense of like, but you just kind of like it's like a frog in a boiling pot, like that analogy. You just put to sleep through it. And then I realized, because I don't have a lot of time to play games just because of my responsibilities, and they're getting more and more responsibly an adult. But I had a session where I played for like 4 hours, and it was like 2:00 in the morning. I'm like, oh God, I'm like, what the hell happened? What the hell happened? And then you're like, well, were you having fun? And I'm like, not really. Like in retrospect, no. In retrospect, I feel like I was on some kind of drug. It wasn't the kind of drugs that I like. It was some other drug. I was drugged by this game, and if I'm gonna do drugs, I want to do some, you know,
you want to do the real
rev up. Yeah. I want to feel like, what is it? Like I've never done it, but these like the DMT, or where they're like, I was like, I'm like, it's like 10 seconds, but I'm like, oh, like that's what I want to be doing. Exactly. If I'm gonna burn brain, I want to burn brain that way, and not just kind of be like dripping in this chair playing Vampire Survivors with one hand.
Yeah, I think it's very similar to like I think was it you and I that discussed this a little bit, Edward? You know, like phone stuff, like TikTok and stuff like that. It's like, you know, I don't have TikTok, but like people who have TikTok, they like scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll, and like there was actually one, like when TikTok came out, I like tried it, and I realized that like I would like go to the bathroom and I would be like, okay, I'm just gonna watch a TikTok, and then I like kept scrolling for like an hour, and I was like, what the fuck? I've sat here on the toilet for an hour. What the fuck am I doing? So I like uninstalled that app instantly, basically, and I feel like that's like very much similar to games, especially these addiction games.
And then it's like you have the choice where it's like, well, I don't want to spend an hour in the bathroom, but if I am spending an hour in the bathroom, I could be reading a book.
Yeah, exactly.
I could be learning. I could be, you know, at least seeming like I'm trying to learn something or do something or something like that. And then when you feel those resistances, I think that's when you start to get really like you can observe this phenomenon. It's not subjective in that sense. You know these things about yourself. You can observe these things about yourself, and you can do the science on yourself and sort of see like how you feel about this stuff. But God forbid, like imagine having to then bring that into the discussion of the game. Like one of the things that was my big kind of like a big light bulb went off is that I had a buddy of mine who also was, plays games and stuff, and you know we talk every once in a while, and he was and somehow I guess we're talking about like Game Pass or something like that, and I was playing a game. He's like, I was like, do you ever play this game, Vampire Survivors? And he's like, yeah. He's like, oh my God, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours. And like, he's like, and that's where he told me, it's like, I think that's the first time I heard dopamine trip. He's like, it's like a dopamine trip. And I was just like, I was telling him about it in the context of like, have you seen this game? Like this is a problem. This is like, and not only him, but the way that the media was talking about it, like this kind of like genius breakthrough, like no one's ever thought of this before. I'm like, this is really, really, really bad.
Yeah.
This is bad stuff. Now, like I wasn't that I got really bored with it in a couple hours. But like it was one of those things where I probably sat there. I'm like, this is stupid. Castlevania Strikes is cool. And I'm sitting with one hand. I'm like, this is kind of dumb. And it's like 2 hours later. I probably have like maybe 5 hours total. But that's 5 hours I didn't want to play it for.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I wanted to do that. You know, I played a couple of runs, and then definitely a lot more than I wanted to before I was like, this is idiotic. This is idiotic. And then you see how we were talking about it. It's just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
oh my god, I spent 10 hours today playing this game. It's so addictive. That's positive, right?
yeah. Like imagine talking about drug experiences like
exactly,
in context. You're like, yeah, I smoked fentanyl, and I was like zombie for 8 hours. Yay! Like, don't you want to do that with your life?
That's value for money, bro.
Yeah, but that's a lot to do with the just like the media culture that we have. Is like it's insane. I think it's anti-player. Very anti-player. I don't think these people like games, and if they do, I mean, I could caveat it, but it's like I think that again, it's the economic models like really structure. They make sense of everything. So because they're playing games for a deadline, because they're writing reviews, not for themselves, they're not writing journals, they're writing reviews. So this is a consumer-based thing because they're trying to quantify these experiences. They don't even think about them. Either they're going to think about themselves and project it onto it in like a weird, like, look how smart I am kind of a way, or they're going to try to look at it from the point of view of the lowest common like just the person who doesn't want to play it, what's appealing about it to them, and then that becomes like that layer is what the devs are interacting with, and the whole thing just kind of like has been internalized both up and down. Like players have internalized it as a value. It's like half of it is like, oh, I want to go, you know, I want to get to the end of this game so I can play the next game. like they don't replay games because it's like, God, why would I replay this when a new game's coming out that I've never played and don't know if I like, but I'll like it because everyone explains how to like it. You know, it's like, oh, this is a 9 out of 10. Oh, now I understand to like it. And the devs, you know, because they're on the market, they start to respond to that kind of stuff. And they're like those, so the media becomes the tastemakers. But no one's realizing that it is because they are playing games to be done with them and get them done with them at a deadline. That it's like that when that gets internalized by the player, it's like completely backwards. It's completely backwards. And we see the result in that in the rise of like the RPGification of everything. Like RPGs used to be really nerdy, like really corny, like super corny. Now, like FIFA is an RPG now.
Yeah.
What? Like that's like you should be stuffed in a locker for that. Like that's not cool. That's not a tough guy genre. You guys are playing RPGs.
Yeah.
Lame.
And I think
we should bully you.
Yeah. In defense of RPG slightly, even though I think they are quite bad. Like I think it's not necessarily that they are RPG. It's specifically like the synergy building thing. Because if you play a lot of old RPGs, they aren't very synergy buildy, right? No.
Well, even before that point, I mean, just in the point of that, you're looking at this like long experience where it's like you will play it, it will be 60 to 80 hours, and you will not play it again. Like that part, like so back to that value content is like, oh, I'm getting 80 hours for $50 as opposed to, oh, this game is half an hour for $50, and then that doesn't even make sense that you would play that half an hour for possibly thousands of hours for decades and decades and decades. Like I'm still playing, and I called it when I got it. I've got Sin and Punishment 2 for Wii. I'm like, I will play this game for the rest of my life. I'm still playing it. It's been decades. Like I've had this game for decades. Like it doesn't even make sense to think about it.
That is kind of interesting though, because like I wonder if that's also part of the like incentive to do it this way for the companies, right? Because if you find a game and you really connect with it for real and you keep playing it, you get actual real good value out of it. Like you said, you keep playing it, but then you won't come back for like the new stuff. So maybe like if they make stuff that you don't want to go back to, you're gonna have to buy the new stuff, I guess.
Well, that's why they make it live service, Edward, right?
Oh,
then you keep spending money.
You see like the mobile models.
Exactly.
The mobile models do that, is that they always gotta like keep you off balance like a little bit. You know, you can't really. I mean, maybe you can. I don't know, but you can't like play like the old League of Legends. I know they deal with Warcraft. And Warcraft is like your guy's favorite game, right? I know. I'm just kidding. No,
Well, Warcraft isn't that bad. World of Warcraft is terrible.
World
World of Warcraft. Yeah. You guys play that a lot, and you guys really pump it up on the channel. You guys
World of Warcraft we're big fans of.
World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the default reference of like bad. You're like, this,
exactly.
You don't want me doing this kind of stuff.
Like, we do it like on purpose now because we know people get mad. Even.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, is it like something of a sacred cow amongst your fans?
No,
not amongst our fans, I think.
Like, people
time
regard that game
World of
highly
Warcraft,
for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, someone makes a comment. Actually, this.
Yeah.
This. Well, I think. Well, what's the Steelman case for World of Warcraft? Like, what is good about it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I mean, some people argue like the social stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it would be. It is the platform, and then everything else is kind of built on top of that.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it seems like to me. I've never
there are parts like there's like end game dungeons or whatever where you like have to coordinate with a bunch of people. I that's probably a bit interesting. But the problem is to get there, you need to play like hundreds of hours. So it's like, just give me that game. If that game is so interesting, give me that. I don't want this other stuff then.
Why am I? Yeah, exactly. Like, cut to the chase. Why am I got to do this whole prelude to this kind of thing just to find out? And to be exhausted. You're emotionally exhausted by the end of this thing. I never played an MMO, but I played. Well, no, that's not true. For a little bit in the MMO part, but I played Final Fantasy 14 when it was free. Although, and it was like mostly offline, and then there's like some quests that they force you into the social thing to try to get you. You know what I mean? I have to like ask some guild for something or whatever. I'm like, this. You sort of, I could see where it's like we were saying with that drip, where it's like, oh, I can kill an entire day and not feel a thing for today, and then play that kind of stuff. And I get that. I never want to diminish the social aspect, but again, it's another thing where, well, if it's the social aspect that's the good part, stop saying the game is the good part.
Exactly.
It's not. It's the social aspect to it.
Make a game out of that, then, right? Criticize this thing and then go make the good thing. Yeah. And it's even more crazy because like you can, in all these MMOs, you can pay to get past the progression. So it's like, obviously, no one wants to do this. I don't understand.
If there's an express line that you'll pay extra for, obviously waiting in the line is not the fun part. Right. Like that's the kind of the tricky part. But yeah, it would be interesting to. You couldn't tell me. Well, you could tell. Like, I don't know what the good part of the end game stuff is. I guess that you have to pay some kind of attention. So what would that look like? And ironically, how far would that look like from older dungeon crawler games and like older stuff like that? Like, like, is that kind of like, are we doing this long meandering path to something that people have figured out decades ago, but for whatever reason we just don't like the frustration?
I don't know. It's because the thing with like MMORPGs is that I never bothered to get to the end game. Right, yeah. So it's like hard to say, but yeah, I think like as Edward said, like you could probably make something interesting with the dungeon stuff. I don't think it's interesting in World of Warcraft, for example. But there is like, because I don't know how like because like World of Warcraft is really, really big in Sweden, for example. That's one of the examples.
Sure. Oh, so you guys are like really putting the target on your back, saying,
it was smack. Well, so like I've never really played World of Warcraft. I like tried it out when I was younger, but I have a lot of friends, and I've had a lot of friends who like spent billions of hours in World of Warcraft. Not billions, but you get. And they are like really, really coordinated. They are like really serious about the raid stuff, and that's like kind of cool in a way, because it's like, oh yeah, we have 20 people here, and we have the raid leader, and then we have the healers and the tanks, and everyone's coordinated. And when the healer dies, everyone's like, no, or when the healer's in danger, the tank comes and rushes in and saves him. And like
that probably seems really interesting. Like Destiny, the Destiny stuff. I never played Destiny. I'm not a big FPS guy, but like that always seemed interesting. Even like the marathon stuff seems interesting. I mean, I guess it's a little bit different, but maybe it isn't. Like the extraction games, there's probably a lot of like team coordination.
Well,
like the Yvonne no, I don't know.
Like they're basically just. I mean, opinions may vary, but I don't know how
not as interesting as they sound. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, like what they are. I think these extraction shooters is they're taking the FPS formula and like making it into the MMO, like taking the bad stuff from MMOs, right? It's like. It takes longer, more dopamine, right?
Sure.
It just like less about anything interesting, basically.
I have a question for you. So if the loot wasn't I mean, I don't know how else it would operate, but if the loot wasn't like, if you weren't like also building the RPG stuff in the back, if you weren't getting better loot and then equipping it, I'm imagining then getting to the next fight better. But like if that loop of having to like get stuff, secure it, like if it all ended, like if it was like more like a roguelike,
Yeah.
would it be a cool genre?
Yeah, that's I don't think people would
But
play
it's
it.
hard to motivate people.
So-
to
I
keep
think
playing.
people would stop playing because that loop is it's the like, oh, I got all this cool stuff now, oh, I'm feeling so good, and then you go back in and oh, you lose everything, and then you go back and it's like this
Yeah, so
high low high low.
I actually
Winning, you
slightly disagree.
Okay, yeah, go on.
So I'm gonna talk about my experience with Apex Legends, which I think I mentioned on the podcast at some point. So like I would say like these like what are they called? Looter games? No, what's the name for them?
I think it's extraction.
Extraction shooter. Yeah, that's the name. So
Looter
But
shooter is more like a
sorry,
Borderlands.
They're very-
but
yeah.
Apex Legends is a battle
shooter.
royale game.
yeah. So that's my
that
point.
genre is better, I would say.
Well,
than the-
I'm gonna get to why
Sorry,
I don't
go
like
ahead.
it.
Yeah, okay.
So
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so I was playing Apex Legends with one of my friends because I think you could do duo queue in that game. Like when it came
Yeah,
out,
you
I
can
played
do
with one
3
of my
queues,
friends.
I think.
Yeah. Maybe it was 2 friends then. Whatever. It doesn't matter. And like I had never really played Fortnite. Like I played a little bit of what the fuck was it? Like PUBG back when it was an Arma 3 mod. Because it was like an Arma 3 mod first. I played that a little bit. And then I never played a Battle Royale until Apex Legends came out. And I tried it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is kind of fun. You know, I'm having fun with my friends or whatever." And it's a bit skill based, right? But it's a bit like, you know, random because you have the free for all dynamics of like, oh, the bad teams can gang up on the good team and stuff like that. But what I realized as I was playing is that because the odds of winning are so low, like obviously if you're better at the game, you're gonna win more often. But like in something like CS, you know, you would win roughly 50% of the time, right? If you're up against an even team. But what I realized with battle royales is that, you know, even if like everyone in the lobby is of equal skill level, you know, you're not gonna win very often, right? It's maybe like 1 in 20 times. I don't know how many parties. Sorry, whatever. It doesn't matter. And what I realized was that I got this like going back to this like addiction thing, where it's like, okay, I jump into a game, we play, and then we lose, and then we're like, fuck, okay, let's play again. And then we jump
like you were
in,
so
we
close.
lose. Yeah, exactly. It's so
like
close.
seven-
Next
it's like
time,
seven,
and then I
seven
pull the
bar.
lever,
So close.
and I pull the lever, and I pull the lever, and like I started realizing like, holy, this feels like gambling, right? It's like we're so close every time, and then no, we gotta do one more time, and so it's like we end up sitting there for several hours instead of like, oh yeah, we're just gonna play for 1 or 2 hours. No, it's like now we played for 10 hours because we're like, no, we're so close, we're gonna do it this time, I promise. We're gonna get the chicken dinner or whatever people say, and it's like. And that's why I think battle royales are so popular, because it is this like gambling feeling. It's like, oh yeah, you know, one more. And I feel like extraction shooters are like that, but like if we want to go back to the like drug analogy, it's like a spiked drug, like it's even stronger because you have that, like you're risking your loot, right?
Okay, yeah.
So it's like this like, oh crap, like as soon as you meet another person, it's like, holy fuck, my heart is beating, like what if I die? And if I win, I get this like massive dopamine hit.
Okay, yeah. So it it's required to have that. So the RPG stuff is like required to have that heightened state.
Yeah.
If you win and just get a points, and you don't give a shit. It's not the same thing because there's no.
Well, I would say that's like roughly what a battle royale is, right? So with like an extraction shooter without the loot, that's like roughly a battle royale.
right,
Like it's not exactly the same.
okay.
So
But
like
like
it still works, but I think that's why the extraction shooter is even more popular nowadays, right? It's
And
like
that's why-
I don't know if it is more popular technically, because Fortnite is very popular, but
Fortnite is like also a platform for like
yeah, true.
Hannah Montana doing a concert.
Yeah.
Like so, like that's not happening in an
Yeah.
extraction shooter, right?
Yeah.
It would be a lot more inappropriate where.
Well, never say never.
Never say never. Right? But, like Fortnite has that hangout. Fortnite is a place now, right? And you can't really be a
Yeah.
place if there's like a fight breaks out every 10 seconds. You know what I mean? Like it's like,
Yeah.
okay, this is kind of
Yeah, it's very similar to Roblox,
I'm not trying to be,
right.
I'm not trying to be here all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Roblox is another like place.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
truly these metaverses kind of concept. Like it really is like that, and it is
Yeah.
interesting. It's
Yeah.
terrifying. It's interesting.
Yeah, so like I think the extraction shooter is like that gambling like instinct, but even more like potent and dangerous because you're actually putting something on the line. You're putting your own loot that you have like collected on the line, and so it becomes even stronger. So I think extraction shooters are like one of the most problematic trends in the last few years, actually.
You know, it'd be great
What?
if instead of like RPG stuff, if the game was actually balanced, and then it was just an arcade token, right? But if you lose, if you win, you get to keep playing. And if you lose, you lost your quarter. I don't understand why nobody has tried to do an arcade model with an attached credit card to it. I can't wrap my head around it.
What was that game called? Let It Die? Is that what it's called? Like
Never heard of it.
I think it's like an Souls-like.
Where you pay to play, or
yeah, you pay for lives, I think, with your credit card.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I don't think it went so well for them because everyone bashed them for that, right? They were like, oh,
but I wonder how much of that was the game, the structure of the game. It was sort of like a dungeony kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I maybe I'll read up about that because I remember I played it once and I was like, I'm not doing this stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't think of it in that context, but like, I would love to see because it doesn't have to be much. It could even be like pennies. Like you could do it for pennies.
Yeah.
Just to kind of like see how that kind of stuff works, and then all of a sudden, and then like if reclaiming it, you can kind of win back your money. So it's like pay $10 for my game, you have this many tries, and if you win, you can get your money back. At least get some portion of your money back. It's on a kind of refund. Like put money back on the line so it doesn't become all this weird virtual meta stuff that does, I think, screw our heads up in a way. When it's money, it's tangible.
Yeah,
or,
I do think
more tangible. It's still abstract, but it's
some mobile games do stuff like that. Obviously, they're not that interesting. It's like you click right. But I think some of them, like their business model is basically they'll have the hardcore players, right? Like they're designed in this way where if you're a hardcore player, you should be able to get through the game without paying. Right. So if you spend a lot of time, you don't need money. Yeah. But if you don't have a lot of time, you need to spend money.
Right. So I guess it's like it's something about the game structure, and then again also from like the motivation. Like this would be more of a thought experiment.
Yeah.
Than a really like try to like, oh, this is how we we get the low skill players to like pay all this kind of money stuff and make it all about an economy. And most of those games, at least as far as I know, are all like like I guess you would call it like pay to win, where you're like trying to roll gotcha for like more powerful stuff or like cool skins or more rare things like that.
They also
like,
don't have any gameplay, so
this would be just straight up.
Yeah,
you're paying 1 penny or 10 cents or whatever to play.
Yeah,
there would be no benefit to that other than that's the only way for your game to turn on.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting. I think at the very least,
yeah.
It would definitely like I think it would clarify a lot of design.
I think.
Then you're like how close is that to gambling? But it's if it remains in a skill based stuff, then it's not gambling, right? That is the discussion. Yeah. That is the line.
Ironically, I think even though people just move on from games these days, right, all the time, there is this sort of I feel like at least ownership, like. How do you say it? Like people are a bit obsessed with owning like their stuff. Yeah. Even if it's like an account or whatever, but they don't like
unobsessed with it because that's going away.
Yeah.
Well, at the same time.
Now.
So like Xbox Game Pass, right? It hasn't been doing very well, right? As far as I know. So like, I think Xbox has been pushing to like get that to happen. But it seems to not have worked, and I think that's like part of what you're talking about, Edward, where it's like people don't want to do that.
This is the best game ever, I'm going to play this forever. They think, right? When they buy it, they want it, but then they buy it and they play it for 10 minutes or whatever, right?
Sure.
Mm-hmm. But I feel like that is very strong. So when you give, when you have like a subscription model, or you pay per time play, then people get, I don't know, discouraged or whatever, because they want to own the game, right? Because they're gonna play forever, but they don't.
Have you guys ever done a subscription like a Game Pass?
No.
I've done it, and one of the things that's really interesting is you get the Netflix
Right.
Kind of like there's so many games you just don't play
Mm-hmm.
anything. You just look through the whole library and then you fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing is it's kind of what you were saying is like is it goes two ways. Is that like if a game is again like $60 for a game, it's like, well, I can get half a good of game off my $20 subscription. So you're competing against yourself in that kind of a way. Because if you're spend time in the $60 game that you bought, every if you play that for a month, you feel like you just lost $20 on the subscription because you didn't use it, right? And then conversely, if you find a game in the subscription that, let's say like Hollow Knight, that you're now playing for a month, then you overspent on it because you can get it cheaper than $20 or whatever. Like that kind of math. Like I think again, this is where I think like the outside economy of games like really does affect the design in ways because it also affects the player psychology in ways.
Yeah.
That like I don't know. I think it's a lot. It seems obvious, but I think it's a lot more profound than we're realizing because we have these weird value models of stuff, and because not in the game but outside the game, we start to either feel like taken advantage of, or we feel like there's a good value, or even just that basic retail stuff where like if a game comes down, it's like $5. You're like, that can't be that good. It's $5. You know, and a game's like $30, $70. Like, oh my god, Grand Theft Auto is like $1,000. So it's like, well, yeah, I feel like that's gonna be the best game because it's the most expensive. Like that kind of psychology still somehow ends up into the design, like the design, like whatever medium you're kind of in that water, and if you're not recognizing that, then it's going to affect your decisions, and you're not even going to think that you're making those decisions. You're going to think that's just the way things are.
Yeah. And it's ironic because it's like killing the industry basically because they're like pushing for the more expensive and they can't afford it because they like released this live server. What was the game earlier this year that lasted like a week?
A couple of them, but the recent one,
the like big one. It was like 50 different.
High
Guard.
Guard.
It was like 50 different genres in one game. It must have been insanely expensive to make that game, and then they didn't even try. They just not a million players day one. Okay, turn off.
I can't even wrap my head around the thinking of like how far that project went before someone had to realize it was a bad idea. Yeah, people aren't as smart as they seem. They have a lot of money and they have a lot of like influence, but that doesn't make them smart. And Game Pass is a great example of like you've trained players against your own desires for what you want them to be.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like you've trained people to lower the like everything's so cheap. You're gonna make it like the music industry did that. You know, and I mean like maybe like at the very top they're happy about it, but like. Again, I don't do it back in my day, but I was like very active in the music world when like the MP3s and Napster came around. And that was where anybody was on an equal level with like, you know, Metallica's all mad because like another metal band can just like put their stuff out and get it. And all of a sudden the entire distribution network that these guys like their entire industry is based on, that we know how to do recording. We know how to distribute your records. We have the contacts at the radio. You're not allowed to send things to radio, but we are allowed. Like they have it all locked down. And then the whole rug got pulled under. And then Lars is, you know, they're all like, oh, it's going to ruin music. Now look at today. Music is cheaper than water. And it's completely commodified. Like it's completely garbage. It's just garbage. You've driven the value in Apple, the Apple Store. You've driven the value of music to zero. You know, it's not even like $1. It used to be $1. I think it was 99 cents a song, which is I mean, like that destroys art. Yeah. You know, I mean, like I'm not saying like in like art. I mean, like literally, it just destroys like artists making things. Like, why would you make I don't know. It's so silly and stupid because now you're also flattening out the value of like your hit single LP that you used to sell separately from the album. Now every album song is 99 cents. Like it doesn't make any sense. And now it's literally zero. Like music is just absolutely free.
Yeah.
And now the entire music industry is really making money on licensing deals and like being on like TikTok's the new radio and all this kind of stuff. Like it doesn't make any sense from the musical perspective, but they've also destroyed like it's a different thing now. And whatever music was, they've completely destroyed it. It's all got to be completely like kind of manufactured, make you feel like it's music still happening, make you feel like these things are still happening, but it's basically like I don't know. It's like these like it's kind of like how games turn into IP, and then you're like invested in the IP. Like music's kind of like these IP creature things.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, like you're looking at like one person, but it's actually like 50 people all kind of constructing this kind of stuff. And like these people aren't writing their songs. they're not real. This isn't reality.
Yeah.
You know, and like yeah, they're still making lots of money, but like people don't feel like they can feel it intuitively, even if they don't understand the whole thing. Like you don't need to know that this whole thing is manufactured, and with AI, it's going to be so much more insane. But like you can feel the lack of authenticity in it. Even not doesn't have to be like in pop music. Like I think you could feel pop more authentically in the like new wave era of the '80s, like a Gary Newman type. You know, like I'm not saying Cars is like a really deep song, but you can feel the authenticity of it compared to something today where it's like this feels like really like a lot of people put a lot of time and electrodes on people's heads and really figured this out to like really kill me. You know, like to really like just really kill me with this song.
Yeah. Well, to like to bring that into gaming, it actually reminds me of.
You go ahead.
Or did you want to say something? No. Okay.
Oh yeah, no. To bring it into gaming is that like in the same sense, it's like they're making games for rats.
Yeah.
We become the rats. Like we started to become the rats. Like that is like look how we're talking about it. We're like, well, this cheese in the maze. Like I get shocked. You know, but if I don't get shocked, I do this thing. So I don't want to get shocked. Like that's literally like we're kind of like we're the rats that are kind of figuring out we're in the maze. Yeah. You know, but the designers don't care. They're running their expense. They don't give a shit. They're like, I don't need this cheese to be good. I need it to be cheese. I just need the cheese to be better than the shock. You know, and they're doing that. It's like, don't shock them. You could do it this way. It would smell your whatever. It's like, oh man, no, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so no, it's actually good that you bring that up because one thing that I find really interesting about this, like, you know, Vampire Survivors like game trend where it's all about being as addictive as possible, is that you can kind of see that AAA studios are being beaten by indie games, which is very, very interesting. Because I think what made me realize this was playing, what the fuck is it called? The like Greek Assassin's Creed game, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I think. It was like the reboot thing when they like made it into like
when they took 2 years off and like we're actually try to make one. Yeah, I remember that.
And I found it really interesting because there's all these like. You know, there's a bunch of grindy stuff. There's leveling, there's skill trees, there's items with different rarities. The purple ones are the best, you know, stuff like that. But what I found really interesting while playing that was that it felt so like corporate and soulless, right? So like all of this addicting shit felt so corporate and soulless compared to like the indie stuff, you know, compared to something like Vampire Survivors, which feels like it feels very...
It feels grimy.
Yeah, it feels bespoke, masterfully crafted, you know. It's like, so it's like, you know, fuck that mass-produced cocaine. I want this like weird guy in the woods who's making his own cocaine. Like that's way better,
it's like
right?
Yeah,
exactly.
I know a guy. He steals Castlevania sprites. Just trust me, this is gonna blow your mind. Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons why AAA studios are struggling so much nowadays. Because like, you know, AAA games are. Now they're like $80. They used to be 60 or whatever. And they're not like actually offering anything better than what something like Vampire Survivors does. And that's like $5. Why wouldn't I play that? Obviously I would. Like if I'm looking for the addictive stuff. So the AAA studios, like they don't know how to do that. Because it ends up feeling like it feels like you're being taken advantage of, right? Like when I played Assassin's Creed Odyssey, it was like, okay, they are doing this stuff because they want me to get addicted with all the grind. But like when I play Vampire Survivors, it doesn't feel that way. I just get like sucked into the grind. And then I like realize, holy fuck, I'm addicted to the grind, and then I shut off, right?
Well, hopefully you think that. Hopefully,
true. Most people don't.
Which is tough. I mean, and I'll try to branch this and I'll bring it back. Like what's so tough about that particularly is that the real stuff that I think that we need or ought to be talking about is why people feel that way. You know, I think in a general sense, it's very acceptable to call like we just like gaming is a kind of escapism, but like I don't feel that way. I have felt that way. I have felt that way. I have felt like a kind of relief that like 8 hours of my day just are gone. Like just melted away, and I can go back to bed and I could do this again tomorrow and not have to and escape from something. You know, now I'm not saying everyone has to put on the table what they're escaping from, but like the idea that there's this other kind of game that is active and not like you're not escaping from, you're actually kind of like, I don't know, the opposite. You're just staring into some kind of abyss, and for as long as you can and hold on, and you're out. You know, I think you guys mentioned it too, where at some point where it's like, I need to be exhausted at the end of this. I don't want to do this again. Like I'm like half an hour. I'm like, oh, I'm not doing that right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a break. I need to like relax. Oh yeah, I think it was the episode where you were talking about like these like forced breaks, like how arrogant these people are. They're like, any bit of gameplay, and now I need to break. Like they've had to think for 2 seconds, make sure that they can take a nap real quick. It's like, well, we can do that for half an hour, but that's like kind of like my limit. Like I don't want to feel, dripped out. But the other thing that going to the triple A stuff is, I think, at least like I'm noticing this a lot because it is kind of creeping in with indie stuff too, is this other thing. It's like, we have these like addictive models coming in from like the Vegas psychology and the persuasive technology, like the phone guys really figured all this stuff out. They're like, if you make this like this, people are going to touch it, and people, like they figured all that stuff out, and they are doing the TED Talks and gaming stuff, like here's how you make $1 billion, like they're putting all that stuff into this space. But the big studios, I think, have realized, or have always realized, but they're really like the IP is the name of the game.
Yeah.
Right. Like what I think is so fascinating about Absalom, and we're never gonna know the truth, so I am speculating here, but I'm pretty good at speculating. But this company, Subcultures, just went out of business, right? They're liquidating, right? They're an animation studio. They're the head of the project. I always thought that Guard Crush, the game developers, this was their project, and they hired an animation studio. No, it was the other way around. So the animation project was meant to be this IP, was meant to have an 8 to 10 episode Netflix thing, was made to have the plushies, was made to have the fandom, the Comic-Con style cosplay fandom. That's what it was built for. And then they got these guys to make a game for it. So you are playing the tie-in to a project that hasn't manifested yet. God of War is, it's an old series, but like you're playing the tie-in for the project that's yet to come. That's where they want that. That's where the money is. They want that Marvel money. They want that real Marvel money. They want to build IP. And like, I think that is very difficult to do because then now they're also thinking that because they need to make this like everybody needs to have, it needs to appeal to everybody, is that affects not only the design of stuff, and you feel the soullessness and just how the mass appeal of it and how every kind of thing that might be interesting is like taken off of it. But the gameplay is that way too, because you need to be able to have, particularly children are very vulnerable to IP stuff. Like they need to make the new crop of assholes who buy He-Man figures when they're 40. They need that crop. They need that new crop of people that they lost. Like the millennials are still buying all this stuff all the time. Like they're still like, oh, Star Wars. Like they can still, like, we need new people to be able to do that. And I think that's where all these guys are kind of figuring it out. So I think that is another effect of it. It's like indie guys, like we've seen them. They probably have the talent to bootstrap that stuff. They just don't have the business savvy to really like make IP. Yeah. And I think once you start to think in your head that you're making an IP, I think you automatically start to jinx it.
Yeah.
Like once it becomes not natural, and you start to like try to construct it like in a world building kind of sense, and you start to project the future. Like, how much trash do we talk here?
Interesting. So you're saying that
can I talk trash about indie devs? Is that like not cool?
Yeah, sure, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna talk some trash. So there's this game coming out called Pizza Kid, which is like a very like indie beat 'em up-y kind of, it's a CAG game. It's a beat 'em up. People are kind of like rolling their eyes at it a little bit. The guy's very has his vision, and he's very stubborn. Not stubborn. I'm sorry. He's very passionate about his vision for the game, which is like kind of a tag game. It's like a combo stuff. Like they just put out a trailer. The enemies don't even fight back, and it's going to be that kind of a game, right? Which has its fans. But you like, at least my impression is that you can see him building IP and not a game, right? Even though it is a game, it's like you can feel the like, oh, this character is going to have cosplay, and this cool thing is going to be like, it's so cool, but it's so like meant to tickle the millennial consumer brain without really getting the fundamentals down. This project's been going on for years and years and years and years and years, and I haven't seen enemy combat yet. That's just, there's a little bit of trash talking. We'll see how it goes. I hope it's good. I hope it's a successful project, and that it finds its fans. But I do think once you internalize that kind of stuff, that it screws you up.
Yeah.
Do the thing. Don't get ahead of yourself to like, oh, I'll make so much money. I'll do all this stuff. It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be cartoons and animation and comic books and this and that. And I'm like, oh, now I gotta write the story for the comic book. It's like, get the game good. Make the game good first, and then we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, because I'm thinking that's probably partly why the AAA games, like you said, they feel fake, like you said, Ludwig. where it's like they're trying to like that's why they fail every time they try to make a new IP, because they're trying to do what they're doing with the old IPs. They're trying to be like, oh, look at this character. Do you remember this character? And it's like some random dude that you have no connection to because it's in a new franchise. So they're trying to make you relate to it, but you can't because there's
you feel
nothing
like
there.
you're already supposed to be like already relating to this character. Like, oh look, oh shucks, like the kind of stuff. And it is like they're doing it completely backwards. They're doing it from the result they want, and they're trying to work their way backwards to how to psychologically make you feel that kind of a way. And it's I'm actually surprised how bad it's like it's failed really like very poorly. Or failed spectacularly. Like I think no one, like, you think Sony would be able to do it. They kind of are able to do it. Like Last of Us is insanely popular as an IP. People who don't actually like play the games or not. I'd be curious to see if that non-game IP is the bigger part of the franchise now, like money wise. And then if they can replicate that with God of War, they would love to replicate that with God of War. You see Nintendo doing it with Zelda. Like they're so out of ideas. They're so done. Like and they will never make. At least I don't want to say never, but like they're never gonna like. I think you're gonna start seeing these like rebooty kind of things. A lot of trying to clean the slate and bring everybody in. Like Donkey. Did you guys play Donkey Kong Bonanza?
No.
It's another one.
Was it that? What's the guy called who's really really bad at games and gets mad?
ESP.
Yeah. Wasn't there like a clip where he like missed the bananas on the like zip line and he got super angry or something? I don't know. It was super funny.
I'm
anyways,
for as much YouTube as I watch, I'm pretty innocent of gaming. YouTube. Like, I've never seen angry video nerd or who's the guy that everyone he wears the glasses and he has the worst takes in gaming. Oh, what the hell's his name?
No clue.
He was from he's like the original guy. Oh God, people would know what it is. Not is it? Maybe it's angry video game nerd. I think that's what he is.
You mean Angry Joe?
Does he wear glasses? And he does
I don't think so.
Okay, maybe it's a different guy. I think he wears ties like us. And
no clue.
Yeah, so I'm just very interested in a lot of that kind of stuff, which is thank God. But Donkey Kong Bonanza is another one where I was playing it and it's like it's just a perfect. Nintendo's like perfecting the toy as game thing, and I think that they're so ahead of the curve. And I don't mean this in a positive way at all, but like they have like understanding that people are like want their full attention, but they're not going to give a game their full attention. So like, can you play this while you're listening to a podcast? Can you play this while you're watching a movie? Can you have this as a second screen experience? And you absolutely can. You can play it completely mindlessly, and the chew of it, like the toy, is so much fun. But the game is ridiculous. Like I couldn't believe it's like it's just an open world run around collectathon kind of like. It's just zero friction to it at all. But like it is so fun to press those buttons and do stuff. Like it's incredibly fun. And like besides like those kind of experiences, like they're never gonna do the things that they used. They're never gonna take the risks that they used to take. I don't think.
Yeah, wasn't Astrobot a lot like that as well?
I never got to play that.
Yeah, me neither. But I've heard like people talk about it since
I played the original one, like, and then played the VR. The VR one is amazing. I actually really like that a lot. That was kind of like a mind blow. The PlayStation or VR game. It was very cool. It was very like, because it's basically Mario. It's not that complicated, but it was just so, I don't know. It was really neat.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, about the franchise or IP thing. Wasn't Concord also trying to do that? Weren't they doing like monthly animation videos or something? Yeah. And then like the game is up for a month and then they close it.
I don't think it was up for a month. It was like 2 weeks.
Was it shorter? Okay, yeah, maybe. Yeah.
That was very fast. And it's funny because like I still don't know if the game's good or not. I have no idea.
Yeah, and it's interesting because
it looked very mediocre actually. Like it was probably fine.
No,
one looked more. Yeah, like High Guard sounded more interesting.
No.
It wasn't.
Well, maybe you think that, but
yeah.
Oh, I have no idea. Yeah, I'm not in the
when
genre,
I saw the trailer. When I saw the trailer, like, did you see the like announcement trailer thing?
Oh no, I turned off.
Okay, yeah. So it's understandable because like
as soon as
that game is.
It wasn't a From game. I turned it off.
Yeah. So that game is like the definition of mechanic slop. Because their like reveal trailer was like, okay, so here's this game, and first you do this. And while you do this, you need to think of that. And then you do this, but you have to also do this. And then you do that. And then there's this mechanic. And then there's this second game mode that gets activated. And now you need to think of it. So like the entire trailer was like explaining this like insanely overcomplicated game mode. Because like there was no way anyone would understand unless they just explained everything. It was so complicated. and like
is that structure slop? Is that what that is? Is it like rules?
I don't know.
Like, I
No,
don't know.
because it's like first it's like you're going out like collecting loot, like, not loot, but you're
mining stuff,
mining
like
diamonds or
Minecraft,
whatever.
basically.
Yeah.
God.
And then there's like a capture the flag thing that you need to do, and then after you've done that, you like attack the enemy base, and then it's like a COD match. It's like it's very all over the place. So I'm not surprised that game flopped.
That's the kind of stuff I would think about when I was like 10 years old. I'm like, you do Mario, but when you beat the level, you go to this other level.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Metroid. How cool is that? How cool is that?
Exactly
Like, that's the kind of stuff I would think about.
Yeah.
And you're like, how cool is that? It's like, nah, dude, it sucks.
Yeah.
Sucks.
So not surprised that game flopped, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's also interesting because these like live service games, if you look at a lot of them that are sort of successful, most of them had bad launches. So like these games don't need to be good to succeed. They just need to like keep going at it and like have a plan for like the content drip feed, right? Obviously, it's not going to be a good game, but like if they want the players to keep coming back.
Yeah. I wonder what it is. Like I got into Overwatch. I played Overwatch for pretty I don't know, like semi seriously. I was a part of I thought this is very funny. I was part of like a console league.
Nice.
Which is very funny. Because it's annoying because I'm not a big PC guy. In fact, like I have a PC. I don't play. I've played 2 games with a mouse. It's just not I'm a console kid. So I like playing the games with the controller. But it's a different game on the console than it is. Like the meta is completely different on a PC. Like where we be playing, everyone's like, you gotta like there's a ferret out. You gotta use soldier to counter. I'm like, you can't do that on a controller, dude. That's not Winston's a better counter. Like that's not gonna counter it. And you're always pushing against the meta. So if you're good, you could play the console meta. But anyways, like I really enjoyed that. And then there was another one at that time, I think Paladins, which I didn't like as much. And then there was another one that was like, it sounds like what you're saying was just like a little bit, it was on PC, it was like a little bit too complicated how, I think it was one that Epic made. Like Epic got into a game like that. Not it was like another, like they were like kind of Romanesque sort of, they had wings and stuff. You know what I'm talking about?
Is it like Smite or something?
Yeah. I think it was Smite.
Yeah, I don't think that's Epic, but yeah.
Okay. Well, it was on Epic Game Store, maybe. I don't know what it was.
I think maybe Epic bought them or something.
Maybe something like that. Yeah. Now I was like, I don't like this. This is like structure slop. To me, like, I don't know what's going on. There's a lot of setup, and then you do the match. You know, like you were saying, like maybe like you're like getting resources and then you're doing something. I don't know. I kind of washed out of it. And once they started doing where they started like locking down teams and like now Overwatch is like really like you have to play. Yeah. You have to have set roles. I'm like, well, that's not fun. You know, I don't need like 10 Winstons going around there, but like if you want to be creative, I think a fun part of those games is like it's like creative counters to stuff. And like you because if everyone's playing the meta, then you can play a counter meta, right? And not what they expect. So we used to do really goofy stuff like are you guys familiar with Overwatch? I don't want to talk too much.
I play that.
Yeah.
Like what we used to do, which is I think is amazingly, it's just hilarious, is that we would go onto like if they're playing a Reinhardt, we would do a Symmetra and a Mercy. And Symmetra's orbs goes through the shield. Yeah. And you just damage boost with a Mercy, and everybody panics. Nice. Everybody panics instantly, and you just bum rush them. It was like things like that we would do that were so effective. But again, like it's like that's not the meta. That's not the meta on King's Row. You can do this and that. It's like, man, it's just you're taking. I don't know. I can't imagine enjoying that game anymore. Besides I'm sure there's like friends. People have. I mean, I made real friends with there. I was calling them, checking up on them. We would talk every once in a while, even after playing the game. So like that social aspect is very powerful. But we can't talk about games that we can't talk about the game that way. You know, that's like really player side and then social side.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like they did that because they like couldn't balance it. Because at the start, people were playing like evenly distributed roles, but then at some point, people figured out that this attack role it's useless. You can just have tanks and healers and just you don't need the attack role. And then the devs were like, "How do we fix this? Oh, you can't pick more than 2 of each." So,
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, when I went back to play and I had to start queuing by because like my appeal to that game is to not have like a main. People were like, "Oh, I have a main." I'm like, "That's crazy." I'm like, "What's the?" I mean, I guess I hope that works for you. But like, I love the idea of we would do like a lot of like strategizing and stuff, and have this more general thing, and play the counter game. And I thought that was like super interesting. But then when it's like when I'm queuing up and it's like I have to queue into a role, then I'm not interested anymore because like I'll I like to play the tank. I like to play whatever my team needs is what I like to play. I like to play what's going to win, you know. And if I see certain things and we mix them up, like that's, I think, I don't know, they kind of ruin that stuff for me.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they ruined a lot of other stuff in that game as well. I tried they made the like second one, and then they made it back to one or whatever. I don't know what they're doing, but like when they released the second one, I tried that, and it's like,
oh yeah, there's Overwatch 2, and now it's just like rolled into Overwatch because
they changed
can't play
it
the remember that one you like, you can't play that one.
Yeah,
you have to play this one. It's like awesome, thanks. I didn't know Adobe was making games. This is great.
It's actually really interesting, this like live service update thing, because like both me and Edward used to play like a lot of competitive multiplayer games, and I still play a bit of CS, as I often say. And I had this like discussion with something on our Discord the other day, where it's like it goes back to this like update thing, you know. People don't want to play a game that's not been recently updated, which is very, very strange.
What do you mean?
Like you'll genuinely see on like, you know, Steam forums or Discords or Reddits or whatever.
And you can see the numbers as well, like Steam charts. So you can see the numbers.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so it's like when a game hasn't been updated in a while, people will like leave Steam reviews and say this game is abandoned, don't play it.
Yeah, it's dead.
And stuff like that.
I see what you're saying.
And like Edward said, you know, if you go to the like Steam DB or whatever it's called, and you look at the charts, you will see when the game updates, the chart goes up a lot, and then it goes down.
Some games are like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder about. We're going.
Yeah, so and it's very interesting because like as you're talking about with Overwatch, it's like as these games get updated, they get worse with time.
I agree.
In general, like usually, maybe if I'm being kind, they like get slightly better at the start, and then they get way worse with time. Because like I guess it's like the developers are running out of ideas, so they just keep changing stuff because they need to push out an update for people to play. Yeah. But it's very, very interesting because like there's nothing stopping people from just playing these games, but they won't because they aren't recently updated.
Because they're moving like schools of fish around to different stuff.
Yeah.
I got a buddy who plays he plays League of Legends. Good luck getting him on any other game ever because his whole friend group has to migrate. So I think multiplayer games do fall victim to that. Is that you really have to create a wedge between, you know, like the game and the group who plays, and then be able to migrate them all over. And God forbid one of them doesn't like a mechanic and they're like, I just want to do this kind of thing. And again, this can be outside of the game. This could be just like I had my long day. I don't need to think. I can kind of autopilot playing League. I don't want to learn all this new shit. It's very stressful for me, where the other guys are more excited about it.
Yeah.
Like I think you guys talked about this. I'm listening to you guys like for like 3 days straight. Is the inability for people to the lack of a desire to adapt. You know, it's like I like when games are done because then you can finally play them and see what it actually is. And when you look at, especially in fighting games, you look at like Super Smash Brothers Melee, whatever it says. Street Fighter 3 Third Strike is still being played, and it's still, the tiers are still like up for grabs to some degree. You know, like I think like we used to think Yun was like the most powerful, like he's unstoppable, or Chun-Li's unstoppable, and it was Yun. Then now it's Makoto. Like no, now it's like Makoto's like no, Makoto's broken. Oh, Ken's broken. You know what I mean? Like it keeps adapting because it really once the game is set, then it does become about the players and their meta and they're adapting to what that is. Yeah. You know, I'm not a big fan of bans and stuff like that and broken stuff because like as long as you can adapt eventually, but I wonder if because you're in the live service model, how many like people like low tier shit, people just bitch. Or like the big broken stuff, it's just like the scrubby. We call them like the scrub mentality. They just bitch and bitch and bitch and bitch and bitch until it gets fixed, and then it just ruins the game. You know, ruins the game for some group of players. You know, and then like, well, you'll get your turn the next time it's ruined for the thing that you like.
Yep.
Yeah, and the like interesting consequence of all this updating, right, is that the meta never has a chance to settle because things keep changing, right, and so like. If you look at any live service game, the meta is not much mature. There is so much to discover that hasn't been discovered. Like I think one really interesting thing about Counter-Strike meta is that, you know, back in the day, like 10-15 years ago, the AWP was like the big cool gun that all the good players used, and if you were the team AWPer, you were the best guy, and you were the rock star of the team, and like. as the years have passed, the op, like people have kind of realized, like, yeah, the op is good sometimes, but most of the times you can just like peek and one tap them with the AK, like if you're good enough. So like do that instead, because that's more versatile and better. So like that's like how do you say, it's like the meta has evolved from people playing the game a lot and becoming really good, because that realization that, okay, if you actually get good with the AK, like if you get really good with the AK, you don't really need the op. Like sometimes you still do, and sometimes it's still good,
right?
But like most of the times you can actually make do with the AK because it can one tap headshot. So if you just hit the head, you don't need the op, right?
And then all of a sudden, the thing that was powerful is now people are trying to
slightly
now people are just
worse.
doing the AK.
Yeah,
they're gonna make so it starts to move. Like once the thing goes away, it makes that space for the other thing to come in. Yeah, and it's constantly evolving. I think I have another banger line that you guys had. What was it? Well, I guess it's a little different. But like everything seems unfair if you don't understand it.
Yeah.
And that was, I don't remember which one of you handsome geniuses.
I think we both say it.
We both said it at the
time.
exact same time. But it's like, it's unfair until you understand it, and then like no one has time to understand it, because if it feels unfair, it's immediately buffed out of the system.
Yeah, exactly.
And then games become less. I mean, it does make games less interesting. Like I can't think of an example of especially like in fighting games, even in like these hero shooters, where one thing was so powerful that everyone had to react and think about it all the time. And it makes you better, like it makes you stronger, and eventually become so good at countering it that either that's going to be the state of the play. It's just like any game is going to be how like can you stop their Reaper from just running, just destroying your back line? That is the game, and that is what it is. And then you start to move those things around. Like that's still fun. Like that's still interesting. Like you still have to play.
I think
like in fighting games, if one thing's super OP, and like now everybody has to adapt to it. Everybody has to have an answer to it. Or like in fighting, you might have to get a pocket character. Like if they bust out, if they're playing this shit, I'm like a 4/6 against it. Now I need like a pocket character to learn. I think that stuff's awesome. Like I can't think of a situation, and I literally just can't think of it, where something is so broken. Well, no, that happens in single player games where things so broken that it's just boring.
Yep.
It's just I don't want to play this stuff anymore. You know, like I mean that was my experience with Shinobi. It's like everything, like movement is so broken, everything's so broken that it's like, why am I doing this stuff? And then listen, if I could have played to get my money back, I would have played the hell out of that game. I probably would have really enjoyed it by the end. You know what I mean? I'm like I gotta like speed run this and take no hits, and I can get like some percentage of my money back. I would have enjoyed that game a lot more.
Yeah, it's interesting because like with single player, I guess it's because you're not playing humans, but like there's this mentality, right, with single player games where it's like, well, you can just play the way you want or whatever, but it's like
you control the buttons you press.
Yeah, you control the buttons.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go.
Yeah, I guess you're saying like,
and the buttons we press and everything. Nothing means anything.
Yeah.
Just do whatever.
Yeah, which then it's like. Then you get back to what you said earlier, where it's like, what am I doing? Why am I even playing this? You don't have anything to tell me with your like, because like I'm very, when I look at single player games especially, I'm very like, I think of them in the same way that you would think about like a really good book or a movie, where it's the author has like a message or whatever to tell me, sort of, even if it's like a more mechanical message, right? And so if the developer is like, do whatever, I don't care, then it's like, well, I'm not gonna care. You don't like give me something cool, show me something. Like give me something. It means
whatever you want it to mean. Then I don't need to read the book then.
Yeah,
I can make up my own shit whenever I want to do that kind of stuff. Some people couch it in terms of like, well, then I'm like developing the fun of it kind of stuff. Well, I think like the thing is like I have fun breaking games. I have fun breaking that kind of stuff down. I have fun with the mechanics. I have fun with just with I mean, I guess you could say like in the toyish sense, but like I have fun with the mechanics. But no, it's not in the toyish sense, because I can't just sit there and play it. I need to then see what the level is. Like I got a buddy who just sent me a demo for a game that he's working on, and there's really no stages or nothing. It's just all mechanics, you know. And I'm like this feels good. I like this. This one I'm not so sure of, but it doesn't mean anything until I see the enemies, right? And if it's just these like I mean, I know that it's like placeholder stuff. I'm like, if it's just this placeholder stuff, this is all unnecessary. All of it's unnecessary. So like not like I almost wonder if it's like I don't design games, but like I feel like it maybe make those things in concert and stuff. Like I feel like maybe the demo should be an interaction of something. Like what is your what is the fight that you're like, this is the thing, and everything's kind of like based around it. Like, what does that thing feel like? And then kind of, but I'm getting past it. But like I'm having fun. I'm enjoying myself. But like I have fun clipping my toenails, right? You might not have fun clipping your toenails, but like maybe I have fun in clipping your toenails. Maybe you don't like that. Like I don't know what it is, but like it's not. It's like it ends up being about yourself. Again, it ends up being about yourself so much, whether things are fun or not. And I kind of hate that as the somehow in games we've like elevated fun, the subjective, whimsical, nonsensical thing to like the highest possible value. You know what I mean? I'm like, God forbid I said a game was bad and I had fun playing it.
Yeah.
Like that's that's hypocrisy somehow.
Yeah.
You know, I have fun doing lots of things that are like not fun to do at all.
Yeah,
You're just having a good time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like I think we're seeing so much of this like Shinobi, just because I, you know, it's probably I know very well, and I know like how I felt about it and how I think I think I have a good theory of mind about the people who do like it. And it ends up being a lot of like seeing the animations. Like what would be fun about it is just to see all the cool stuff and see the animations and like feel the thing. Like it is just very like an interactive, just a very cool, just the part of pressing a button and seeing a thing happen is very, it's got an appeal to it. And it's just built on that appeal, as opposed to this thing that I think that we are not necessarily in the Matthew, maybe this does touch into the Matthew mitosis, whatever he called it. What do you call it?
Aesthetic deception.
Oh, good God. I didn't listen to your guys' episode on that yet.
You should. It's very good.
Yeah. But it's like, but I think we're seeing it more as like in the, you know, we obviously I don't want it to be just like the minimalist blocks and pieces, because I do think that stuff's very important. Like what it all looks like helps you or hurts you, or it does. It does. I mean, whatever. I'm not going to get into this stuff right now, but like. It like we are looking at it in the like, but as it does turn into information for us, and it becomes like just kind of it is just the information to the interface, kind of a thing. Like it does become very much like that. So I don't need the animations to be particularly interesting unless they're valuable information.
Yes.
Yeah. It sounds like we're describing very like there's two kinds of players. It's creating two kinds of games, but we keep calling it the same. We keep calling all of this the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like the visuals. We talked about that in that episode, right? Where like the visuals for us is like a way to make it easier to like process what the game wants you to do. Like, there's a buff dude in front of me. He's probably dangerous, right? Or something. Yeah. Like that's
or to like kind of confuse it a bit. So
definitely. Also.
Everyone, so you guys are like Final Fight hip. You know, and you understand that like when you're playing, like I think if you're casually playing Final Fight, you and you're thinking of it in terms of, oh, this is a bad guy, I fight this one-on-one, and then this is another one-on-one, but you're not looking at it as a screen because it's multiple individual people, right? Like it would look weird to be like, I don't know how you would visualize it as a whole, you know, without thinking of it as individual characters, but it is like. It is a screen per screen thing, not an enemy per enemy thing. Does that make sense? So like that is a sort of deception. Like it is a sort of deception in a way. You know what I mean? But like or the way that's abstracted. I think I'm getting lost in my own sauce. If that makes sense. You guys understand what I'm saying? Like as a beat 'em up, when you're playing Final Fight, you're playing the screen, right? You're not so much as like, oh, I'm this guy and I'm fighting that guy.
Yeah,
it's
no,
like,
you're not like immersed in that way.
This guy's in my jam. This guy's in my jams. I'm not even thinking about this guy. I'm thinking about these guys here. And you're like looking at it as a screen, like every screen.
Yeah, it's like helping you to process what you're like. Because if it was just a bunch of like squares, you would be like it would be way harder for you to like reason about it.
Like I don't know how a beat 'em up would work in not a men fighting men in the streets context.
Exactly.
Like it's harder to visualize that kind of stuff. I've seen some more like abstract versions of it where you're like, okay, like I don't know if you guys should play like Hyper Bun Buster. Like trying to think of that as a beat 'em up is very interesting because it doesn't look like a beat 'em up, but it plays like a beat 'em up. And when you think of it in that context, you sort of like feel it in a way. You're like, oh, this is really the beat 'em up isn't like men hitting men in the streets. It's this other kind of like spacing chess like concept, you know, which is like I don't think Matthew Matosis plays games like that at all, so I don't really care what he has to say about anything. But moving on.
Actually, interesting you brought up that the like Shinobi video, because like I was thinking about that when you said that. Like it was for me when I watched that video, it was like actually like we had seen the game before. I don't remember who talked about it, and it was like that game is bad. But like I don't know how to say it in a nice way, but like how brain dead that game was. Like when I watched your video and saw like you compared it, like it was really nice because you showed all the old ones and then you had the new one, and like it was comical. Like you had this I think it was a podcast right up where they were like talking about the game, and they like what are they talking about? I don't understand what they're talking about, right? They were just talking about surface level stuff. They were not talking about the game at all.
Yeah. And there's more stuff in that podcast that's even more damning. I had to kind of still put it into the context of, like really looking at my play footage, recording it while doing that kind of stuff. But yeah, there's it's so many things. Tying back to what we're talking about different cultures. So like his experience, like he said he played the arcades. His arcade experience was really Neo Geo machines, I guess, were around. Not in France, but when he went to school in the UK. I feel like I got the whole dossier on this guy. When he went to school in the UK, so he's playing like Neo Geo machines. So like, and the big pop for that, and rightly so, was like the big animation, Samurai Showdown, all these big, cool, powerful, like chunky moves and stuff. But his hands-on experience with Shinobi was from the Sega Master System, which is not even it's not even a feature complete port. Like it's been a while, but like I don't know, like you either can't crouch, like there's mechanical things that are just absent from that kind of a game. And I think his Shadow Dancer experience was also on some kind of like microprocessor thing. So like his take on Shadow Dancer is like, and then he's watching a lot of Let's Play stuff. So a lot of it is just literally seeing how things are. So the whole thing was half like this kind of misinterpreted memory, and then this thing. So like from his perspective, these games weren't that good.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to make something completely different with the surface level stuff. Makes sense, but like maybe play the old games. And I cut his stuff on. He had commentary on Shinobi PS2, which I swear to God was so ironic to me because like he's like, just doing the same stuff over and over again to see the cool animations is like kind of boring. And I'm like,
that's what the game is. Yeah.
What is your game?
Yeah.
Like that's all it is.
Yeah.
I don't think about anything except for the cool parts where I get to see the cool zigzag animations that is also optional. I'm like, damn. I'm like, it really was the most I like to say like radicalizing experience for me to like see this kind of stuff, and then like what you're saying, like you see it, right? Like you saw it and you're like, oh my God, this is to the point of comedy.
Yes.
But like that was not what everyone's reaction was. A lot of people thought I was lying somehow or crazy. I got called a grifter. I'm like, what are you? I'm like, this wasn't even like. This was just for my buddies to see it because I know that they would see it, and it's like, what? Where is your mind at? Like,
I remember you posted those short ones beforehand, and people were like super angry. Where you just showed gameplay, you didn't do it. You just showed gameplay.
I'm just showing straight up gameplay, but like I'm playing it in a way that like offends you to your core, and it was a very like Emperor doesn't have clothes kind of a thing. And what at least for me personally, what was so crazy about that is I think before that incident, before that like kind of like part of videos, I was always a lot fairer to people and their opinions. I was very like, everyone's opinion's valid, this is cool, if it's fun, it's okay. I don't feel that way anymore. I think there's something really brain damaged with a lot of people, and I don't know why, but like they are seeing things like not only different than I am, I think completely backwards, like completely inverted. And when things are like, and it's almost like two sides of the coin. Like it's very hard to like, you can't reach that part to explain it because they think it's just this. You literally just can't see the other side of it. I don't know how to like get that kind of stuff through.
Yeah.
Like when we talk about like 1cc's versus credit feeding, they literally don't see it like as not the same thing. It's like, why would you play it for one? Like, wouldn't it cost more to play it for one credit than to just credit feed? You do it a lot cheaper that way. It's like, you're not doing it though. You're not doing it. It's like, I saw the end. It's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
I can't even relate to you people anymore. I truly feel like an alien. And not what we're talking about, but I think one of the other effects of that video and the people who kind of saw the reaction to it is I think a lot of us in these little video making arcade game, shmup game, whatever scenes, we all start to kind of feel that.
Yeah.
We're all starting to get a little agitated by these people. Like, what is, like we're all getting a little sandpaper, a little gritty. And I think hopefully the positive thing is that people are pushing back on that kind of stuff a lot more and being a little less tolerant of low tier opinions that are just going by unexamined and just let it rip. Yeah, the old games suck. Doesn't make sense. The arcade economy doesn't belong in today's thing because you just blah 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 blah. Why control the buttons you press is another like one shot at a bunch of people's brains. So like, well, if you're not having fun, if you don't like this part, don't do it. Do the other part. It's like, well, I don't have to do any of the parts. Like, if all of this is like just kind of like optional, whatever I like, then what the hell's your game? Like, what is this?
Well, and
like
also
like you do see, like you're saying, like you see the person at the other side in some kind of weird, almost like seance-y, commune kind of weird way, where like you start to like a person takes shape. And yeah, when you play Assassin's Creed Odyssey, it's just like a legion of madness. Like you literally don't see anybody. And I think that is to the soul, it's disturbing.
Yeah,
because you're like, there is no human here. I don't really see it. And like, where is it? And it might be like, oh, that's why people latch on to like, oh, the voice actors, oh, the characters, oh, this little, there is no soul in there because they're literally it's just too many people not allowed to be people, but they're cogs in the machine. Like it's pretty obvious. But like when you are playing like Shinobi Art of Vengeance, I see the two guys who made it. I see them clear as day, and what they're saying about Shinobi really disturbed me. Yeah, I saw it in the trailer. And then I was right. I actually thought I would be wrong. I was hoping I wrote the video before the game came out. Like I wrote up my notes for it. I wanted to be wrong. The joke was going to be on me ultimately, but oh boy, oh boy, was I on top of it. Sorry, go ahead.
What were you gonna say? I don't remember.
You wanted to say something, Edward.
Oh, I did.
I don't remember.
No, Edward.
I don't remember.
You did.
Or did it? Well, then I can say something because I have something to say. Yeah. So I think it's really interesting with like these like people who defend Art of Vengeance, for example. I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that they don't engage with games actively. And this is something me and Edward have discussed on the podcast before, where it's like, it's kind of like, watching a TV show. It's like these people are here to passively consume, to have their time wasted. And they aren't actually looking for anything deeper, I guess.
Right.
And so they're happy with these, like, Vampire Survivors games or whatever, where it's like they just want to have their time wasted. They want something to do, like after work, because
they also want
something
to
do
about,
after work,
right? Like,
that's true.
Like I think that's why these remake thingies, like, or reboots, are working so well, because like you get the old people excited, and then that gets the new people excited, and people are just interested in talking about the stuff. Right, did you see that thing? Yeah, I saw that thing. That's cool. And then they don't engage with the game at all. They just want to do that. So when you come there and say, this game is actually garbage, then they get really mad because they're really hyped up, and like they don't care that the game is bad. They just want to talk about how this is the best game ever, right?
Yeah, it is. I think that again, like, I understand that we are, I think correctly so, being dismissive of the social component because it's just not the game, right? We're not talking about gettings-togethers and goings-on, things that we like to talk about. But it is like you're going to a party and you're like, "This sewer line burst? It smells like shit in here," and everyone's like, "Oh." Like you ruined it because now all they can think about is it's smelling like shit. Now they don't want to be there anymore. But they were so excited to like put on their little outfits and their little ninja plushie costumes and go out and talk about this game and share into the kind of fandom. Yeah, you just kind of ruined it but you just kind of pointed out something like,
that's actually like, you actually put that in a really, really good way. Like, because I instantly like recognized that from like, so like I have this group of friends friends. There are several of them who I play CS with. Okay. And since like CS is super, super popular in Sweden, it's like a mix of like some people who aren't really gamers and some people who play a little bit of games, maybe Assassin's Creed or whatever, sure. And then people who play a lot of games, like me or something. And it's very interesting how like, I think you've talked about this as well, like with me privately before, Edward. It's like there will be like a game that comes out, and like this group of friends who I usually play CS with, they will be like, "Oh yeah, we gotta check out this game," and it's like something like super generic, uninteresting, or maybe like an extraction shooter or whatever. And I'm like, I don't want to play this game. It looks like crap. And like they always get mad at me. So like at this point they're like, "Oh yeah, Ludwig never wants to play anything. He just wants to play CS." But it's like CS is good. I want to play CS.
And also you have a steady diet of other things.
Yeah.
kind of like got your hands on the pots. That's interesting because it does seem like and because the novelty, there is some kind of like the race against novelty, I think is like a very real thing, and clearly like if I know you guys are playing Final Fight, I don't know if like how accomplished you got, or if you're playing for 1cc specifically, or how that all. I'm a scrub too. Like I didn't. I'm like practicing like level 2 and level 3, and I'm like, all right, I need to be Mistar before I jump into this kind of stuff. But like to know what it's like to do that kind of stuff is, I do think it's a race against the kind of novelty. You know, it's like it's always nice to go to something else, see all the cool stuff and all the new characters, all the new colors, all that kind of stuff. And if you are playing CS:GO, like it can be like really hard to do. It goes both ways. Like, so I'm playing multiplayer games, and I'm really, really, really into it. I'm like, I get very bored of the other stuff very, very quickly too. Like I was a big I'm not embarrassed to say I'm a big Splatoon player. Thousands and thousands of hours. I'm nasty in that game. And when I was like, when I'm in that phase where I'm super into it, like every other thing I'm like very quick off of. You know, like if like I'm like, I'm so excited for the new the Xenoblade game or whatever the games come out, and I'll play them for a little bit, and I'm like, okay, that's cool, and then I'll go back into the pit.
Yeah. Well, it's exactly the same with like my CS group. It's like they go, oh yeah, Ludwig, you really need to play this new game. It's really, really good. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to play that game. Yeah. And then they play it for 2 weeks, and then they're back to CS with me again. So it's it's very
welcome back. I'm 2 weeks.
I've been waiting here. Yeah. So yeah, it's very interesting. I think novelty is something that like me and Edward have been discussing a lot recently. Like we've. I guess we've realized recently how big of a problem that like novelty focus is, because you see that in like the design of games as well
within the game itself.
Obviously, like there's novelty of like a new game, but then like in game design you see this like very, very big focus on novelty nowadays. And I think one of the best examples that we often talk about is like genre blends. It's like you know, you can't, because you mentioned Final Fight, right? Final Fight was very refreshing for me because it's like, it's so simple. It's like the character has like 4 buttons to press, or I don't remember the exact number, but it's like it's 4 buttons to press. It's like you can punch, you can do the jump, spin, kick, and you can do the grab, throw thing, and you can go left and right and jump or whatever. And it's like the moveset is very, very simple, and it's a very simple game. But if you like, I understand how someone who like coin feeds through Final Fight does that and comes out with the conclusion that it's a button masher, right? Yeah. Because there's no complexity to Final Fight, but it is incredibly deep, right? So if you start going for like you know actually doing a 1cc, you'll notice like, holy crap, my moveset is very, very limited, and there's like 50 guys on the screen that I need to deal with. How the fuck do I do this? And it's like,
everything has a purpose to it, though. There's no superfluous mechanic. You need to use your entire toolkit, and that's what's so, like, just like you said, like, again, talking a little trash. There was like a remake. Someone was like reporting whatever these guys do, where they're putting Final Fight onto the Mega Drive. Now they're doing another one for Nintendo 64, and it's like, I think Bob called out like immediately when he saw the footage. He's like, yeah, the back splash doesn't even work how it's supposed to. Like you would know that if you played it, right? But if you just button mash through it, you might not even know. You know what I mean? You might not have ever used it, and then you're like, oh, I have to put this in because you know what I mean. You don't get it. Yeah. You don't get like you don't get like that. Like I think of like. I don't know if I particularly made me realize that beat 'em ups are actually like Krigor calls them like chess, which was like a huge break. That broke
very
my brain.
Video.
I'm actually, it's funny, like right before I was doing this, I'm making a subtitles video for his video, because he doesn't have subtitles on it, which makes it for like it's a little harder to understand. And I'm gonna make a video about it. And I need to show the stuff. It like broke my brain. But I think it's also Final Fight particularly. I'm like, this is also like billiards. Like you're not just thinking about where you're not just thinking about knocking down the enemy, but you're thinking about how like where is he going to end up? To group things. So you have to sort of like, it's not just about getting your ball in the pocket; it's about where you're going to land your cue ball too. I'm like, that is so exciting, and that's Final. You wouldn't realize that if you didn't play Final Fight, that it has this like, billiards style component of really like, okay, it's not just about knocking this guy down; it's about where's he going to go, where's he going to be, and then where am I going to be? So it's like, it's such an exciting. It's such an exciting game that like I've played it and not cared about it for decades, since 1989. That long. I didn't give it. I'm like, oh, fine, that's that cool game with the cool whatever. You don't know anything about it, and then it's like, dude, it's like it really is like, getting into it is just like, it's so exciting. It's so cool. It's so new. Yeah, it's so new to that born again.
Despite being so old and simple.
Being so old, it's just been sitting there this whole time. It's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, and like going back to like the novelty thing, you know, so like it's understandable that if you don't engage with the game, if you just credit feed through it, you leave with the impression that it's a button masher, because you can get through by button mashing if you credit feed.
The bad guys in the last stage, the bad guys in the first stage, like like it seems like nothing's happening. Yeah, and if you're and again, you notice that the characters are evolving. They're like going off screen, taking notes on you. We're getting new movesets. We're getting new aggression. Like you don't realize that if you're just like gaming through it.
Yeah, and so what's really interesting with like a lot of modern games is that you can very clearly see that since people don't generally like engage at that level with games, they become very, very focused on like having a bunch of mechanics, having a bunch of novelty, like being very complex. Like that's what matters, because people like have this they engage with games in a very surface level. And Boghog said something.
I was actually
he said
bring
something
up
he said something very interesting when he was on the podcast, which was that in every complex, like he didn't say literally this, but I'm paraphrasing. Like in every complex game, there's like actually a pretty simple core. So like the complexity, it's just there, like it's in the way to make it harder to get to the core, right? I said that in a weird way, but you kind of get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And that was like very interesting because it's so true. There are so many complex games where it's like, or well, all complex games I would say, where it's like, okay, you go through all this complexity.
Complicated games.
Yeah.
Like they're being complicated.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I think one really good example of a game that I enjoy that's overcomplicated is Europa Universalis 4. Which I mentioned.
I'm not.
I have no clue either.
It's like a 4X game, right?
Yeah, it's like a very, very, very complicated strategy game. But like the actual core that's interesting is very, very, very simple. It's like a few bars going up and down, and like you having to like constantly balance them. Basically, that's the gameplay. Like there's like 3 bars that actually matter. Like if I'm boiling it down to like very simple terms,
kind of like flying a helicopter in a way. Like you're very like
maybe
you're like maintaining altitude, you're maintaining pitch.
It's more of like survival game, but not in a bad way. Like it's like, you know, you're constantly starving and you need to get food not to die, right? So, but like in a good way, because
I don't survival games are like horror movies. Like I always want to like them, but they just don't do it for me.
Yeah,
I liked Subnautica. I thought that was really fun, but it was required that I was scared shitless of the creatures. If I wasn't scared of them, like literally, I was like, oh
yeah.
Like if I wasn't playing along with that suspense of disbelief, I had headphones and whatever else I was doing at the time, and like I was like really freaked out by it. But once you're not freaked out by it, you're like, this is stupid. You just go do the stuff. Like, but in like horror movies, like they're like, I'm like, I want to be scared. And it's not that scary. But like so I would say like I like the idea of a survival game, but they're not, don't really. I guess they don't really have the stakes like that. But that sounds cool. That,
I think there's like
you're
no
sort of taking
pressure on the player.
The gameplay element of survival and then putting it into a different space where it actually the gameplay core works a lot better. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I guess technically 4X is you're trying to have your civilization survive.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I want to bring up one more thing that Boghog said though, that which is that going back to what you said with the complexity, right? There is still complexity in the simpler games, or maybe wrong words, right? But it's not in the character. That's the thing. Like that's the key, and that's why people don't get it, because the complexity and the nuance is in like the enemy design and in the level design. So if you don't engage with the game, then you don't get. If your moveset is simple, then the game is simple.
Right. But I would almost like differentiate between complex and complicated.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, because I think I think one of the things that like kind of like dawned on me is why people were saying that Shinobi was really hard. Like it's hard for me. And it didn't occur to me until I forgot what game I was playing that I realized that like the hard part for me was trying to remember. Like I got through Shinobi, I forgot what buttons did. Like that's the level that it was on. Like I don't even know these buttons.
Yeah.
You know, but like I was playing some other game and I don't remember what it was, but it was like learning the mechanics and remembering what everything did. I'm like, this is a lot to remember. I was like, that's why people think it's hard. Is because it's because there's so many tools and they're constantly like juggling through their head which one is appropriate for what stuff. Yeah. And it never occurring to them to just not bother with it. Just don't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's such a fanfare and animation. Like, oh my god, I got this new thing, and you're like, oh, I got to use the new thing. I probably need the new thing because we're like Metroidvania trained. So it's like I need the new thing, and that's gonna make this game easier. And it actually is making it harder because now you have another button, another thing to think about. So that is an example of it's not complex. It's actually incredibly like very simple, but it's complicated. It's being complicated.
Yeah.
Well,
and the more it's complicated, like, and it's like I don't know. It's like I'll leave it there. I'm not going to use my analogy for that one. But like there are people that maybe will complicate things for you, and you're like, wait, and you get kind of sucked into their version of it, of like that what they're saying. You're like, this is actually really just put the thing over there. It's not that hard. Yeah. We're gonna make a whole Broadway production out of this.
Yeah.
So I actually like a complex interaction. Like there are many screens and scenarios in Final Fight that are very complicated interactions. Like we were saying with like the chess layer and this billiards-esque thing. Like it is very complicated. And there's little things that can screw up. That you're like, oh, the whole house of cards falls, and you just get taken out.
Yeah. Yeah. So I haven't actually played Shinobi, so you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong. But like you have all these like moves that do weird shit or whatever, right? But I'm assuming, as it is with a lot of these games, that the only thing you really need to beat the game is to know how to move the left analog stick, press the jump, and press the basic attack. Oh, like that's all you need.
Exactly. Yeah. It actually, like even when I was early on, I was using rolls to get through stuff, and until I realized that the enemies don't attack in time, you just literally just walk through. So there's one part. Pretty sure there's one part where you have to. I think it's actually the tutorial how to roll. You know, maybe one other part in a different level that you actually even need to use the roll just as a traversal thing. Besides that, you don't even need to use that dodge button. So you can play it as a 2-button game. It should be to the game's credit, honestly, but it just the game falls apart if you don't do all the extra stuff. It just becomes. And I think you guys talk about this, like they will punish you with tedium. Like that is the only reason not to. It's like tedium or this. And what they don't know is that a lot of like I guess like more skilled players, like they eat tedium. They don't care. They don't give like tedium. Do I beat the game if I do this thing? I'll do it. Like it's not boring. It's not boring to me to be. Efficiency is not boring to me. Optimization is not boring to me. It's actually really fun to me.
Well, then it's not in that case. It's not even tedium. It's like the mental strain from like I'm lazy. Okay, if I can press the attack button and kill everything, I'm gonna do that. I'm not gonna learn your stupid moves if I can just keep clicking one button, right? There's no reason.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it too. Yeah, it's just like I'm just lazy.
Yeah,
100%. But like smart lazy, like work hard, work smart, not hard. It's like why am I gonna if I could just do this, why am I gonna do all this other stuff?
Yeah, I'm not gonna play nice and like figure out how all your stuff works. I'm just gonna do like. I don't know, maybe that's like from I don't know why people think that way. Maybe it's like from, I don't know, like education works like that as well. Like it's very focused on doing things the proper way or whatever. It's like, no, do it the efficient way. Just cheat as much as you can and just get through it, right?
Yeah, no, that's an interesting way to look at it. Is being trained. I've been thinking just more recently. I don't know if you saw this thing, and I don't want to comment on it directly because I didn't really read it too much. But I think it's the developer of 868 Hack put out this it's like a style guide on how to give game feedback.
Interesting.
Okay. And now it has I'll link that. Yeah. It has like interesting things to say because it does I understand that like saying a game sucks isn't helpful, right? Like this is bad, but it's like instead of saying a game's bad, say it's worthy of more study. You're like, what? What are you talking about? And like, the whole thing just seems like it's like how insecure are these people? Yeah. And I don't know. And listen, I don't know about this game. I just saw this thing like get passed around on Twitter, and I'm reading this. I'm like, this is psychotic. How insecure are these developers, and how much of gaming conversation is to protect their feelings? I don't understand it. You know, I think that we made somewhere along the line we made this really weird. Not we had nothing to do with it, but this decision to make this like developer auteur genius person. Like that was a huge mistake. I think the Japanese had it right. Just like sneak your initials in the credits, and if we don't catch you, we won't fire you. That should be how it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Go find it off game. Like pumping these people up and pumping up their egos, and everyone thinks they're Jonathan Blow sitting in a room, just no one understands my genius kind of stuff. It's like it's making like a very insecure conversation. And to go back to like the way I visualize it, it is very like in most gaming, it is player, then the media, and then the developer. So like the player and the developer never really get they don't get in touch, and when they do get in touch, you get shit like you control the buttons you press. You get these really like aggressive interactions. You know what I mean? Like it's more they're more competitive on Twitter than they are with their games. That's insane. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like they'll try to take you out on Twitter, but they don't want you to die in their game. You know, but like I think that like how much of the media stuff is like trying to make these like it's really just just blowing up their egos. But then, you know, like they're really insecure about you can't tell them their games suck. So you're just you're just a bad person, I guess. I don't know.
Wasn't it like Boghog who said like around the Game Awards? He said like, because Doom: The Dark Ages was nominated for Best Action Game and Best Accessibility.
Oh, right.
And Boghog said like, wouldn't it be really funny if Doom: The Dark Ages got Best Accessibility but not Action Game? And then that happened. That was so funny. But yeah, it's like it's very interesting. I feel like I think Mark, like the Electric Underground, for those who don't know, I think he mentioned it on like a Patreon podcast. He was talking about like objective versus subjective critique.
Yeah.
And he said, what was it he said? He said like the reason people get so mad at like, okay, I'm saying this in a really bad way, but essentially what he said is that like, since people assume that the critique that, for example, he gives is objective, then they get mad at him for saying something that they disagree with. Essentially, is what he said.
Yeah.
Like you'll have to watch the podcast because it was very good. And I can't.
No, I know what you're talking about. I think about that. Like I'm not ready to tackle the concept of objectivity, but I'm realizing it really starts. Like, but I do have this giant book I'll never read on it. I'm gonna figure this thing out because it's such a like a Mont Bailey. Like it's so like it's if it's good, it's like if everyone says it's good and having fun, that's objectively true because people are saying that. But like the second you go into like a detail about the game, then that becomes your subjective thing. And I think it's just this flip flop, and I kind of think it's a kind of a bullshit. You know, your subjective experience is objective. Yeah, it's like you're not lying about it, right? Like you can observe things about yourself that are true. It's not wishy washy, whatever. You know what I mean? And like the game itself is like objectively it doesn't function without you. Yes. Right? So it does come down to like it is I like that's like I guess one of my more grand theories or one of my more interesting is that the game is a circuit and the code is a part of it. The graphics and sound are part of an interface, the controller is part of an interface, even the modes are part of an interface. Even the system it's on is part of an interface. Yes. Like there's things that I can't play because just where it is in my house, you know, like someone sitting in the chair. I'm like, I can't play that. I'm like, I need it on the Switch, but now the buttons are different. So like, and then there's you, and like it is like a whole experience. But like, how do you then take yourself out of it and then judge the thing, even though you've been a part of it the entire time? Yeah, but I think that doing that is detrimental to the like critique. Or like to I had me and Ludwig discussed this the other day, right? If someone like you can only look at critique in relation to like the views of the person doing the critique, right? Sure. So and to me that's more valuable because it's way more efficient. Like the way most reviews are structured these days are super useless to me because I can't like if it would be way better if they said something that I completely disagree with because then I can evaluate it based on that, like, oh, they like this and they say this is good, so therefore I don't like it. Sure. Right? Well, I think I understand what you're saying, and then let me go ahead. See if this makes sense to you. So like I think Mark's particularly Electric Underground, the Ninja Gaiden reviews. Yeah. drive people insane.
Yeah.
Like it starts wars. You know what I mean? But it comes down to play style, but it's not subjective. You know what I mean? Like he's showing things and they're facts about the game. They're not his opinions, they're facts. But because he decides to do them or he decides to not do other things, that gets couched into some kind of objective thing. But when he says the game doesn't make me do it, that's an objective reality about the game. But you wouldn't know that without his subjective play style, I guess. Does that make sense? So like, yeah, that's where I get a little bit. I get a little bit confused, and I think that is something that is like the relationship between people in games is not complex, but it is being complicated by this constant like flipping of what's subjective and what's objective. Like he can objectively beat the game this way. Yeah. Right. So it's not true, but yet every single critique of his critique is that it's not true. And that he's wrong about it.
Right,
he's not wrong about it.
Yeah,
he's
that's
right
my point. He's not wrong about that because go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So, but then we're saying that his play style is subjective. That's the part where I get a little bit tricked out on. So it's like the critiques end up being about him and his choices, but like those are from his point of view. They're not choices because the game's not giving him like the game is showing him an optimal path. He's taking the optimal path.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think I get what you're saying. So like you're saying that like if there is like, you know, okay, if we go back to the like Ninja Gaiden example, if you can win by just pressing the attack button over and over again, that's like objectively true, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So like.
Oh, that piece of feedback,
yeah.
Right.
But I also think that like whether you think that's a problem or not is subjective, right?
Yeah.
That's not as deep as it sounded in my mind, but like.
No, but yeah, I agree with that.
Like, do you get what I'm saying?
Say it again.
Like, whether you think that that's like a deal breaker or not is subjective.
Yes.
Because you could say that like, oh yeah, you can press the button over and over again. And win, but you can also do all these cool things instead.
But now you're talking about values, right? And that's where that's where it gets less. You know what I mean? Where it's like if my value is efficiency, I can ground that in an objective reality. Right?
Yeah. The efficiency.
Efficiency is not subjective.
Yes.
Right. So if I could do this more efficiently, then I can ground this in objective reality, and then that game has to inform that objective reality either by score or a timer or nothing. If it's nothing, then that is also a fact about the game.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? It's only complicated because we keep like what is the fact and what is the mean, what is the game?
Right, but that's sort of what I mean with the values being like it's the values determine who how the
subjective thing. Yeah, Mark's subjectiveness revealed an objective fact about the game.
Yeah. If you value that, right? Like if your values,
what are you valuing that's not efficiency? What are you valuing?
Yeah, I mean, it's not wrong.
And you're valuing fun, where I can objectively ground efficiency. You cannot objectively ground fun. That's my point. It's such a fucking mess to untangle, but I think that a lot of the conversation is misapplying subjectivity purposefully to dismiss things when subjectivity is the more important thing to them.
Yeah, for sure. Yes.
It's completely backwards.
Yeah, I think that's sort of.
I think it was really cool because this is a really cool little part of the clip. That I think that made that. I think we're making a kind of sense out of it, out of the crazy way that these like flame wars kind of go on with for like reviews of video games.
Yeah.
And Mark never considers scoring anything, and yet it's so offensive. Yeah. No one asked if he had fun. You ever notice that? No one ever asked if he's enjoying himself.
Nope.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
God forbid he actually.
Yeah. One thing I see a lot, like especially about Mark, is a lot of people seem to complain that he, like reviews all games from like an arcade perspective.
What does that even mean?
So they say like, you know, I think I read it like in relation to his like latest Resident Evil review. And it's like, well, yeah, if you look at it as an arcade game, it's bad. But if you look at it for what it is, it's actually pretty good. Yeah. And that sort of thinking doesn't make any sense at all to me. Because like the point that he's trying to make is that what Resident Evil is trying to be is not interesting.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Try to be something else. And then people say, well, it's not trying to be interesting apparently, so don't critique it for not being interesting.
Yes.
It's very
and then another one of those subjective objective ironies is that they're trying to hermetically seal the game from playing it, to judge that object based on their subjective sense of fun, or just or like I could be like my thing is just like to celebrate the genius of it, right? Not whether it's good, but just whether they hit their intention.
Exactly.
Right? Did they do the intended thing? Well, in the Shinobi thing, I got to actually hear the guy's intentions, and it was like, this is what you're defending? And of course they don't think they are, but it's like, he doesn't care about it. I mean, of course he cares about it, but like, he doesn't care about these decisions being made. He even said, like, I was like, I felt like I was in the courtroom, you know? And then it's maybe I don't know if you guys get my cousin Vinny over there, but like the piece of evidence just fell into my lap, and he's just like, yeah, you could just play the game with just the attack button, or don't. It's like, Your Honor, I rest my case. It's over. It is over. You know? But like, if you even gave that information to the person who's defending that, if the developer told you, yeah, all this other stuff is bullshit, it's just there for fun, they wouldn't know what to do with that kind of stuff. They wouldn't know. They wouldn't know how to handle that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we should start
I was gonna say something
like a barbershop quartet. We need one other guy with a tie. Start singing a song or something.
Yeah. I was gonna say something deep, but then I forgot it.
Those are the worst things. Well,
There was
I did bring some notes that I took from very interesting. Again, like I love your guys' podcast. I've only heard so many episodes, and I'm so excited there's 50 of them. And
there's actually 54 this week.
That's awesome. So I guess the other thing that I didn't already touch on, taste is a skill issue, is like the best thing I ever heard. That's so true. I just heard that one today.
Actually,
like, taste is a skill issue. I'm like, it's so difficult to you can't tell anyone that. It's like, your taste sucks because you suck.
Yeah. Well, it's actually really interesting because I was listening to the No Miss podcast that you were on the other day.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yeah. And you mentioned you made this like comparison to dating.
Okay.
So like people are like, you know, they're like fuckboys who are looking for the new game and they're just having their fun and then leaving, you know.
I didn't say that.
No. Okay. I thought that was so interesting because then you said like, oh, but why aren't you looking for love, right? Because that's like meaningful and stuff like that. And one thought that I had about love, and I'm gonna get a bit cheesy now, so I hope it's fine. It's like, you're never gonna find the one, right? You're gonna have to like find a person who's not perfect, and you're gonna have to love them, and you're gonna have to like work together with them to create this perfect, beautiful relationship, right?
Yes.
And I feel like I connected that back to like that episode, like, you know, taste is a skill issue. I feel like it's the same with games. If you just pick a game and play it a lot, and it's decently good at least, you're gonna like fall in love with it, and like it doesn't matter if it's the best game ever or not. Like, you being good at it and you like having spent thousands of hours in it is gonna make it like so much more meaningful.
Yes. Yes, and the thing, and then like in that same relationship way, the things that start you out that you're interested in are like invisible by the end, and there's the other kind of things in it. Yeah, I kind of fell into. I won't say I fell into a trap, but I started doing that where like just for like other kinds of videos that I'm making, I'm all of a sudden like a game historian that I didn't really think I would find very interesting, but I like tracing these mechanics back outside of the like very obvious, like, oh, it's a beat 'em up because you punch a guy. It's like, that's not, you know, I mean, like these systems, these like systems and mechanics, and I will end up like I'm gonna make a video. Someone recommended this to me when I did my frontline video, and they're like, you should play this game called Iki, which is like famously the worst video game of all time in Japan. It's considered that kind of stuff, and I'm like, all right, well, let's see how bad it is. And it's awesome. It's so interesting to me, and it's also it was an NES port of an arcade game. So I started playing that arcade game, and I'm like, this is a video. I got a lot of things to say about this stuff. It does so many things interesting, and you're right. But like, one of the things, and I think that's in that video. I did that. I'm doing that with a couple different games, but like, I think it was in that one particular, maybe a different game, where I think of this idea of grace, which is like, why is it that because this game is coming at me as the worst of all time by a lot of people who I don't think have really spent a lot of time with it. They hear it, they hear the meme, go and they laugh at all the stuff and they don't really engage with the stuff. So all of a sudden now I'm like, okay, that's where I'm going into it. So I have a lot of grace to offer this game. I believe in you. I don't think you're going to be the worst game of all time. I'm sure you're not going to be the worst of all time. And then you start to see these like really interesting, like, oh, do these guys even know that like the little Buddha statues work as cover? You know, like, do these guys know that like the way that it's like a homing attack kind of a thing? Like you can't really. Like, do you know how the shot limit works on the boomerang? Do you know how the despawns and respawns work? Like, I don't think they know that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, like, this game's actually kind of very innovative in a lot of ways, and did a cover system that isn't like any other cover system for decades. Like the way that it works. There's another game called Boomeranger. It's spelled like Boomer Ranger, and that's basically like, in my opinion, the first open world game ever. You know, now there's like a midward curve to it where it's like once you realize that you can break the game with like very simple tactics, it all kind of falls apart. But it's the same thing. It's like, it's so easy to look at these things as like stupid and primitive, but like when you do start spending, like I probably spent like maybe 20 hours in that game, and I'm like, I love that game so much. And it is like the flaws become charming and the superficial stuff goes. But then what is the other thing where we all see, I mean, maybe not High Guard's a great example, where we see this big thing come out. Like Pragmata is a really good example. Why did I have so little grace for that game? You know what I mean? Like I've no inclination to forgive any of its flaws from the outset. Maybe I don't know if that's a good example. I played the demo and I was just so.
No, I did as well.
I was so annoyed, and I just dropped it. Someone's like, "Did you replay it? Because you get a dodge." I'm like, "No, you don't. Shut up. You get a dodge? Are you kidding me?" I'm surprised. Mark.
No, the most fun I had with that demo was like. Because Ludwig was like watching, I was like streaming in Discord or something, and I was like trying to get the stupid secrets.
Like
and
collectible,
that was the most interesting thing in the demo.
Yeah.
No, I
think like a buddy of mine just made a video about Dusk that he's been working on for a long time, and it's very similar to the Shinobi in the sense that like it is about like, well, if I just do this stuff efficiently, the whole illusion really breaks down.
Yeah.
Now, people were pissed. Like, he's getting a lot of, like, really just nasty comments and stuff. And it's the same thing where it's like he's showing you the receipts and you're telling him, well, why would you do that? Like, it's very in that, like, control the but, like, well, why would you do that kind of stuff? And they're trying to nail all this stuff. But, like, I mean, like, I thought it was, I'm not really familiar with the game, but I wonder if the other effect of it is that like it started out as a very, I think there's like an independent project that some guy made. It's very rough. It came out like I think it's like if not the start of the beginning of the boomer shooter revival kind of stuff. So I think that there's so much grace that was granted to it as an independent project that didn't have to be all these things. Yeah. Now he's coming in almost 10 years later, I think it was 2018. I'm not sure when it came out, but almost 10 years later, he's coming back to it now that it's like a titan of the genre, that it's like in the pantheon of these great games. And that's how he came to it. He's like, oh, I heard this is the best one, so I'm going to play it, and this game is shit. So I think it's super interesting that, and I don't know why we do that. I don't know why that's like an instinct that maybe I have or people have, but I think that's another part of that equation. Besides like the love and the relationship is like, are we and why should we grant these things any kind of grace and forgiveness of their flaws? Yeah, up front, like to start with. Yeah.
And I'm even worse with that actually. I don't know how you feel, Ludwig, but like if a lot of people tell me something is really good, I'm more skeptical than if.
I'm getting very jaded with that myself.
It's like immediately, like
I'm like reflexively.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think the worst case of that, like in history that I've experienced, was with Red Dead Redemption 2. Because that was when I still played like quite bad the games regularly. But that was like, you mentioned Hades as like the game that made you realize. Red Dead Redemption 2 was like that game for me. It was like everyone was so hyped for it. Everyone was like, oh yeah, you can see the horses poop in real time. That's so much detail. Holy crap, this is the best game ever. And then I played the game and it's like, you're riding on a horse and you're riding on a horse and you're riding on a horse, and then the horse poops, and then you keep riding on the horse, and it's like there. And then I go hunt the bear. Oh yeah, so cool. And then I go up to the bear, and I do the 15-second long skinning animation, and then I do it again, and then I like that was like my eye-opening to me. That game, I was like, holy crap. you can't listen to people. They don't know what they're talking about. This is like one of the worst games I've ever played. What the fuck? This is so bad. And people are praising this for being the greatest game of all time.
Yeah. And what you need to know, and what you want to know, and I think what you need to know is where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Like, why do you find that interesting? Why is this good to you? And like, you could be in a situation where it's like, yo, I play CS:GO like a maniac, 24/7. So this is very different, and that novelty is what makes it interesting. So I like being bored with it because I'm not all cranked up. Like, that would be interesting to know. I'd be like, okay, that's very fair. I don't want that, but then I don't have the same criticisms from it where it's like I'm being signaled to that it's like, oh, it's like a Wild Western simulation. Well, it's like Wild Western simulation to me is like Gunsmoke, you know, or like and those other like old cowboy Sunset Riders is my Wild Western simulation. You know what I mean? Like, not this kind of walking stuff. So you need to have the like I think it's so important to explain where stuff is coming from. And Red Dead 2, I never played it because I just don't like open world kind of sandboxy stuff. But like, is that the one where there is like missions like GTA, but like you can't veer too far off? You get like like the director says cut, you got to start the scene again.
There's like a gray screen and like you went too far away from your friend.
Yeah, that sounds like that sounds beyond terrible to me. Like, not just like that is a failure state, but that is just like in this alleged immersion thing. Maybe that's something I would like. I wonder if you guys would think this is interesting, because I don't know if you brought this up. Well, not in the ones that I've seen, I think. But this idea, I think there's also this like I think we're this like combat of what the word immersion means, you know, and like I think that a lot of people say immersion in the very suspense of disbelief kind of a way, you know, like they're like watching a movie and they want to like kind of like go, and that is a desire to go along with the thing. Like, if you're watching a movie and your buddy's like, you know, that's an actor, right? They're really married in real life. You know what I mean? Like, that guy is not dead. He's in another movie. Like, oh, look at the lighting in there. Like, it kind of breaks the illusion for those kind of people. And then there's other people that watch movies and they're like, look at the framing of this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the part that they're into. And in games, it's like, I think people, like, I don't feel like if I don't need to like when I'm playing, let's say like I'm playing like Mario, it's like I'm Mario. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the thing that's the thing that's happening to it. But I'm playing the like a shmup, like I am the ship. Like, it's very immersive, but it's immersive. It's not immersive in like the story sense and like, oh, that's not realistic or that. It's like when you're in the thing and you get hit, you're like, oh shit, I just got oh my god. You know, it's like that's the immersion part is when the presentation layers go away. Maybe that's kind of like, I don't know if that ties into the Matthew Matosis thing. I kind of like rolled my eyes.
Maybe a little bit actually, because I was gonna say like.
It's very like a giraffe.
I don't know if
the giraffes are real. Yeah. So if it's a giraffe in the game, that's like a real thing. But sometimes the giraffe isn't real. I'm like, shut up, man. This is so, you know, this is so stupid. Like, I was so annoyed. This guy doesn't like. I don't know. It's like, especially like they're 4 years old, and I'm like, you haven't played any like you haven't played a game like a lot of us have played a game. That, like these concepts wouldn't even like, these aren't confusing. No one's confused how a hitbox works. Right. And it's like, I don't, and it's like, that's, I don't know. And it's like, if that's the surface layer of stuff and then you find out there's a hitbox, that's not like this. I don't know. The whole thing is so frustrating.
I mean, that is the game. So like
right.
That's sort of when we go into there where it's like, that is actually the hitbox that's what you're playing. You're not playing the giraffe or whatever. You're like, that's just there to like sell the, not sell, but like, I mean, sometimes sell if it's fancy graphics, but like, it's just to make it easier for you to like, like, if you're a tiny dot and there's like a bunch of dots and you need to dodge the dots, why am I dodging the dots, right?
Yeah, but you're lacking information. You're lacking information. It is not like it all needs to be. Yeah, that was. I don't keep getting distracted by that, and then like, oh my god, I don't even remember all my eye rolls. I kind of like try to eject it from my brain. It was just like someone trying to explain basic shit that everybody kind of. I feel like you're describing the basics of video game literacy to people that are not interested in video game literacy at all, you know, and end up being like, not everything simulates things in real life, but they have to have a coherent simulation. It's like, no shit. Everybody knows that. Nobody thinks that Mario jumping, you know, however many Marios up is like, that's how jumping works.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody, you know what I mean? Yeah. But like, to have things grounded in some kind of like analog, like, it's an abstraction. It's an analogy. Like, how old do you think I am? You know, do I think, oh, where did everybody go? Oh my God, did you disappear? Like, it was really like, I don't know. It was, I guess my frustration is describing a kind of game literacy and then coming to the conclusion that somehow simulations things should be simulated to like is the only way for people to like feel immersed and stuff. I'm like, that's literally the opposite. It's literally the opposite for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like the immersion for me is when I have all that stuff internalized and downloaded.
Yeah.
Now it feels real. Now it feels substantial that I know what the things are. I'm not thinking about the whatever he's calling it, the deception, the other layer of the code and stuff.
I think like that might be like
the internalization of the code, as I understand it, is the immersion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, like I think that's like a bit of a conflict of interest, I feel like, with the programmers that has like arisen over time, where like programmers really, really like systems and like things that interact with each other. So it's like, oh look, the barrel, when it explodes, there's oil and it burns, and they can code
like
that.
The Noida example, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, sure, that's really cool, but what can, like, am I gonna use that? Like, if it's like a central mechanic, maybe it's like super interesting. Like you need to use the barrels to win or whatever. But if it's just there and I can use it, like it's not interesting. That's like
and he used Breath of the Wild as an example.
Yeah,
it's like, how long did you toy around with that shit in Breath of the Wild till you're like, this is a waste of time?
Yeah.
It takes too long.
We actually mentioned that in the video.
Oh, awesome.
It's like, because it's like it's kind of this immersive sim thing, right? Where people think immersive sims are really cool because they're so systematic and everything, like Deus Ex and stuff like that. But like none of that matters, because the easiest thing to do, going back to this, like the lazy thing to do is to just shoot everyone in the face.
Right.
So it doesn't matter that it's like systematic and cool and emergent and whatever, because I just shoot everyone in the face because I'm lazy.
Yeah. And if you're trying to guide things to certain outcomes based on the game's logic, how is that immersive? It's the opposite of immersive.
Yeah.
You're thinking so much of it as a program, and it's like, I mean, that's how like the dialogue choices they never map onto kind of like what you would expect them to be.
Yeah.
You're like, what, you know what I mean? And like, but like you don't think about that after a while. You're like, I'm gonna do the positive, I'm gonna do the negative. You know what I mean? Like I want to guide it because I know what the conclusion's gonna be. So I'm just gonna guide it to that kind of a way. Right? Like, like I find that incredibly unimmersive. I find most systems kind of break down for me in that kind of way. Where I'm like, this is not that interesting. You start to gamify it in that kind of a way.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like it's a waste of like resources a lot of the time, because a focused game would be more interesting.
I agree.
Yeah. Or you gonna say, Ludwig?
Yeah, no, so going back to Breath of the Wild, right? What we concluded was that Breath of the Wild is literally a Ubisoft game.
I mean,
it's a Ubisoft open world game. You have the towers that you climb to unlock the map, and then you clear the camp so you can unlock the big boss guy, and then you go kill the big boss guy, and then you do it all over again. And it's like the grass being able to light on fire doesn't matter at all. Like you don't like the purpose of that thing is so that, well, one, it's like marketing, because they can be like, oh yeah, look, the grass burns. That's very attention to detail, just like the horse pooping in Red Dead, and then it's like, it's this like theoretical, clever design circle jerk, as I often call it, where it's like, oh yeah, it's so cool, you can use this in a really creative way. Which, as I said, it never ends up mattering, because you can just shoot the guy in the face.
Right. Or once it gets to the point where you're like done with the experimenting phase, and you're just like, okay, I set the grass on fire, I put my glide up, and I get that jump. That's just the jump now. It's just the jump with a couple extra steps. And once the like, you don't think about the system anymore. You start to think about the literal biomechanical button presses. You're like, I'm gonna do the fire, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna get into the air, and I'm gonna move that way. It just becomes like, it becomes a mechanic eventually. Just from your hands. So what I will give, what I think, and again, I'm not a big open world guy. I find them really boring. I actually played Origins from Assassin's Creed. That was the one that I played, the one with the pyramids and stuff. And I rented it from my local library, which I thought was pretty cool. And I was like, I like Egyptian stuff. I thought it was gonna be really interesting. And it was, I hit those same things where it's like, oh, I can't go to this area because they're level 70 and I'm level 2. And I'm climbing top of this pyramid and there's nothing here. And it's like, okay, I'm done. Out. Like, this is not, where like I think the first Assassin's Creed 2, like I believed it until it fell apart. Like the first, like I always think of, I mean, it's like a joke at this point in my head, but the first maybe like 4 hours of Assassin's Creed 2 is one of the best games I ever played. And then it all fell apart when I realized I didn't have to do anything. I don't have to sneak because I can fight. and I don't have to learn the combat because I can just grab the guy. I don't have to buy weapons because I can just grab the guy's sword out of his hand.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm like all this stuff is like it's all overdetermined. There's too many solutions on the problem. Like, all right, whatever. I guess I'll play to find the little secret videotapes and see if they have a cool thing. And it's like, it's okay, neat, whatever. But with what I do respect Breath of the Wild for doing is I think it is a little bit subversive. Or it subverts the Ubisoft thing because I do like the idea that it's just like just one objective and that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I thought that was a little bit interesting. Yeah. It's like just beat Ganon. And it's like, and you're like, why even have the quest screen at this point? There is no other there's no other objective. So I thought that was kind of cool. But I guess you can go along with that. And then you guys played the second one, the Tears of the Kingdom. That really I think that does everything worse. What we're talking about, where it's just like eventually you just find the most optimal thing and keep doing that. So it is fun to I guess it's fun to play around and putz around there, trying to do this kind of Minecrafty combo video. Weird kind of thing. Seeing the videos of that kind of stuff is probably turned me off to the game as I was playing it more than anything. I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't want to play Minecraft.
Yeah.
I'm too old. I'm too old to understand not having goals.
Yeah. I think this like I've been thinking a lot about like the concept of creativity, if I may sound a bit pretentious.
No, please.
So like you know, when designers talk about like they talk about player expression and stuff like that. So it's like they want a lot of options for the player so that they can express themselves.
Yeah.
And it's like I know like we discussed this in like one of the first episodes, I think, like maybe even the first episode of the podcast, Edward, I don't remember, where like player freedom, we discussed how it's kind of like lame because you know the old saying like limitations breeds creativity, right? And what I've been thinking about recently is like, is creativity even possible without limitations? Because like if I could come up with whatever I want, right? It's like a unicorn with a machine gun and a car and there's explosions everywhere. Like, oh, that's super creative. That's a unique thought. No one's ever thought that before.
Sure.
Whatever. It wasn't super creative, but you get what I'm saying. So like, my point is that, you know, if there are no limitations, then coming up with something insane and like very out there is not creative because there are no limitations. It's like creativity is doing something like doing something unexpected within the limitations, if that makes sense. So it's like in a game context, it's like, so these developers are adding like a bunch of mechanics and moves, and like in Art of Vengeance, like you have all these moves that you can use to express your player creativity or whatever. But it's like you just have a bunch of moves and they don't mean anything. It would be way more interesting if like and my point is that you're not creative by using these moves. You're just doing random shit and it doesn't matter. It's like creativity comes from the fact that, oh shit, there aren't very many things I can do to solve this problem. What can I do? And then like realizing that and finding that. So like in something like Final Fight, player expression and creativity is actually way stronger, in my opinion, because most people would say that's more limiting because it's like a super hard game and there's very few moves and whatever. But actually, that's where you have the room to be creative because there are limitations on the player. Right, if that makes sense. No, whereas in something like Art of Vengeance, you don't have any limitations, so it doesn't matter which buttons you press because you're just doing shit. Yeah,
it makes a ton of sense if you see like from that point of view, the creative part of that is the combo and the combo video and the clip, right? So you are creating this ballet. Actually, this is I think this is the third Bog reference. He made this point that really clarified CAG design, like character action game design, to me. And it was really smart because it is one of these things that sounds insulting until you think about it. You're like, that's actually really cool. They should realize that and then see how cool it is. But it actually is more like figure skating, right? It's like you're sort of like rated by your like you're rated by some kind of like not peership, but like people who understand the sport of it. And then you just rated by it. Like it's not like there's some parts that are like objective, like you can't fall and things like that. But ultimately, it is about style, technique, timing, in that kind of a way. But like the game doesn't judge you, but the so it is like it is a subjective judgment. on something. And I think I'm like that is a more interesting thing. Like if they made a CAG game where basically your combo was voted on by other players and that's how you had to progress or something, that would be super interesting. So if you can give us this boss until you can style on it as voted by your peers, like that would be kind of interesting. But
Devil May Cry Battle Royale.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool, right? Like I don't know how that would work because a lot of people were watching the game like that was hot. Nah, that was whack. You know, but it is closer to like figure skating or a dance off or a rap battle or something like that, where it's still like it is. Like the game doesn't have a good way to like cash it out on you. Yeah. Although I feel like what was it like the Overwatch had those play of the game systems, but they ended up not being that really stylish. It was just kind of like how many. It was like a point based kind of thing. But yeah, I think it's not only like that things not only the limits, but okay, some of the limit is consequence, right? Like some of the limit is that something has to matter, right? Like another thing, just referring to Shinobi, a lot of those combos only work because the character's dead already. There's juggling these dead bodies, so it literally doesn't matter, right? Like it can't matter. It only matters in the style sense. But like, how do you make that the thing that matters? It from the game perspective. That makes it a tough thing to like. I mean, it doesn't make it a tough conversation, but like, no, I 100% agree. Is that creativity only matter? You can only be creative if something if something matters.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, I think that's it's one of those like it seems like an obvious point, but you do have to kind of apply it and make it kind of a sense, and then definitely there's no creativity without consequences, because then just everything's everything blob of garbage. It's just you could do whatever you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then, but actually, no, that what's kind of interesting about that is just like thinking about where going into, I don't know what I was listening to, something about like some criticism of like kids being on phones and tablets and stuff, is that they're not allowed to be bored. Because they're not bored, they can't be creative, right? Like it's the boredom and the tedium that breeds the creativity. But you start to see that is how these games work: is they punish you with boredom. And then force you into quote unquote creativity. So I think they have half the equation right, is they do kind of force you into a quote unquote creative toy play, like a play space. Oh, this is something that I don't know how much of this stuff as if you guys have seen, or I don't even know how much I get to make it into the videos, but there's like conceptually I'm trying to split. It's impossible to do, but I try to differentiate between gaming and playing. And it's like, because what we're talking about with these two kinds of like ways, and maybe it's on a spectrum and goes in different ways for different people, and different games, but like a gamer games and a player plays. And I think players get very frustrated to see a gamer game, even in the world, like when you see someone game the system and you're not gaming it, you're like, that's cheating, that's fair, and you're like, well, I didn't break the rules. I did it all by the book. It's very frustrating, and we have like a real response to it and kind of stuff like that. But I do think that's a very another thing to think about, like I clarified. I wrote it in these notes. I think it was on your gatekeeping. It was in the gatekeeping video where we were talking about the circle. I really like you guys' analogy of the circles and stuff like that. And
like the onions.
Yeah, like kind of like having it into these like inner sanctums and where you're gonna do it. Once you kind of like flip the inside and the outside, it gets all screwed up. But like somewhere in that like not a true gamer sense, it's like, well, if we can distinguish between gamer and player, it starts to make I think it clarifies, makes a lot more sense. But again, like those terms are all blown out. You can't recapture them. But it might be an interesting way to think about this kind of stuff. It's like there are people who, going back to the toenails thing, it's like if I can clip your toenails, I can clip. Come on, if I'm having fun like that, I'm a good player, right? Like I can be unbored very easily. Makes me a very good player, but it doesn't make me a good gamer. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Right on. I'm out of my notes for you guys. Is there anything else that like was topics that you guys were? How'd you guys have me on?
I mean,
I said that in the start.
Yeah, I don't design anything. I can't game design.
No.
I mean, I think part of it, for me at least, is like you with the combination of a lot of the other arcade like influencers is the reason we did this.
They're calling us the arcade bros on Twitter.
Yeah, I saw that, and then I closed that. I was like, I don't.
It's so funny.
Care.
It's I don't know. I think it's well. What I think is, I'm actually enjoying it is that they're kind of like they're making it into a thing.
Yeah.
Right. Like they're manifest. They're like I feel like I've always like we need a proper arcade subculture, right? And they're kind of manifesting it. in a
That
way.
is true. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
the
is-
Arcade Bros.
The
Yeah,
Arcade Bros,
yeah, I don't know if I'd pick that name if I had my
Yeah.
choice, but yeah, the Arcade Bros.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but like I think it makes it yeah, like it kind of like makes it compelling in a way. It makes it interesting, and they keep manifesting it, and they like talk about living rent free. Is like they can feel, they already have it internalized in their heads what the arcade player would think about stuff. They don't ask us what they think.
Yeah.
They don't ask me what I think about anything, but it's like this internalized value set that's sort of emerging, and I find that really interesting. Something I say often. A lot of things. I mean, like I guess I say a lot. I talk a lot of shit. And I throw out a lot of things out there, but people don't really know what I believe necessarily. You know, like I get a lot of people like, "Did you really think that?" They're always like, "Do you really? Is that really what you think?" I'm like, "It's not. I mean, it's a way to think about stuff." You know, like that analogy. Like I don't need to play one game for the rest of my life, but I admire that people can do that, and I like using the love analogy because at some point I need to figure out how to trick myself with my own bullshit. Like I know how I work, so I can rationalize everything I do.
Yeah.
Right. So I need like new angles to kind of get around my own defenses to be like, why are you? How many times was I going to quit Miss Star? Because I just got frustrated. I'm like, 6cc is good enough. I'm sick of this shit. You know what I mean? I want to go play Final Fight. I want to go play whatever I want to play. And you're like, why? You're just going to be doing the same thing again eventually, right? It's ultimately it is you sitting down doing this. That's it. That's all you're doing. You're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So like, what's the different part? What do you really need to do? And that kind of analogy helps me navigate it in a way that it's like, okay, I need to be good here. You know what I mean? It's not up to the other thing to be entertaining me. I'm a part of the relationship. So it just helps me like think about that kind of stuff. But I like the idea of having this like more orthodox viewpoint. I don't need to believe it. Like I don't need to be like a monk about it, but I like that there's something true or something tangible or something, as we're going this objective, subjective, that there's something that's kind of like objective enough in a way that I can then work with and move on from. Like I think everybody who would like dare you slander the Arcade Bros, like they think we all want to be stuck in the past playing these old games. No, that's not at all. We're trying to learn from these things and trying to like establish like see where the things that we're lacking, the authenticity in gaming that we're lacking, the fact that like we feel the lab ratness, that we're being treated like for lab rats, that we've been cut off from this like skilled progression through time of like games getting harder, players getting better, yada yada yada, and all the good things that came from that and made the hobby exciting, that we're literally cut off from it. It's being devalued. So we're trying to bring these values back into the space.
Yep.
You know, and like that's what we're trying to do. So it's not like a navel gazing old things were better. I mean they were, but it's like in some ways, but it's like we're, you know, does that make sense? We're not trying to bring everybody back to like, oh, you have to play these old games. But it's like when you look at things with this kind of a lens, when you're on the other side of the mirror, on this side of the memory, you start to see these flaws and stuff. And like we're saying, like if we can get the player more skilled, more demanding, they'll demand more from the developer. We won't have this kind of like, players don't care, they won't notice. We'll update. Like it'll be less of a wishy-washy kind of a thing. You could put pressure on media outlets to actually know what they're talking about instead of just kind of either just bloviating, English lit kind of garbage, or like you were saying, where YouTubers are like have this very like Final Fight was made in 1989. Did you guys know? There's a very informative layer. Like the game has levels. This is the story. And you're like, wow, thanks, man. This was not helpful. This was not helpful at all. You answered 0 questions that I had about this game. 0 questions.
Well, that sort of goes back to what you said with like objectivity, right? Where it's like that's what I mean. Where like people shouldn't be scared to like. Because there is this like sort of mental view people have that like it has to be objective, it becomes this thing where they do, like the big reviewers, they do this where, like you said, they list stuff, and I think we need more like subjective like reviews, because it's just more useful for everyone. That like and not just in games, by the way, it's like other stuff as well. It's just
no, I totally agree. That's to be able to like, I mean, again, like what's so valuable? One of the things so valuable about Mark is that you know where he stands on everything.
Yeah, exactly. I know exactly.
We make a lot of bad assumptions and stuff, and then he can like subvert and surprise into light. And, like you start to have a sense of like it's, I mean, it's good and bad, at least from his point of view, because it's gonna be he's got to figure out how to like get ahead of his audience.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that's his, I mean, that's his challenge. But like people already know, he's already like, it's, I think about like where they have like the What Would Jesus Do bands. I don't know if that ever was a phenomenon by you guys. WWJ, oh, this goofy thing where it's like, well, what would Jesus do? You know what I mean? And just like this, like remind us, like, well, what would Mark think? Like, what would Mark do? It's like you kind of like, you know, his value set, and then his opinion becomes very, it's not even like his anymore. It's like this other, like you, like I see all the time, like, well, I know what Mark's gonna think. You know what I mean? And you're right. You are right, because now you have this new lens with which to look at stuff, and it doesn't have to become like it doesn't have to become anything other than that lens.
Yeah.
It's a new way. It's a new way that you can look at stuff, and whether that vibes with you as far as like the things that you value in games, then it's super helpful because nobody else is doing it.
Yeah, but like even like let's say, obviously I agree with a lot of what Mark is saying, but let's say I disagreed with everything he said. Absolutely everything. I think games should be longer and more whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. That is to me like, even if that was the case, I would appreciate that more, right? Yeah. Because that's still useful to me. Because I mean, in theory, I could watch his video and know if I want to play the game or not based on that he wants to play it. So I don't want to play it, right?
Yeah, still from his like very, very, very real kind of reaction to it. Yeah, 100%. And then that's where it's like, I don't need like his negativity or his blessing to play something. Like, I disagree.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what he thinks. I can play it.
Probably disagree with most people that I see in this like space. How we think is like, I really like Elden Ring. I think it's a great game. I think it's my probably my favorite FromSoft game ever. You know what I mean? But it's for it is for a lot of the things that people don't like about it. So it's like, I don't disagree with you. I don't think you're wrong. I don't think any of the criticisms are particularly wrong. You know, like some of them are. Like, my big flaw with that game was my first playthrough was that you will come to certain places overpowered, and then the boss is like a waste, and then I'll play it again with a different build. But then you are getting into that wishy-washy stuff that it sounds like it's hypocritical, but it's like, I don't think this is an action game. This is a role-playing game. Yeah, to me, this is sort of like the unfulfilled promises of the original Zelda and some JRPGs and dungeon stuff. Like, this is like that unfulfilled promise to me. I really enjoy it. Now I enjoy it less. Less than I used to, because there is so much, like I actually played, I wanted to play the DLC, so I started like a fresh file this year, and by the time I actually opened up the DLC, I was like, I don't even care anymore. I was like, I beat the the boss to unlock it, so now I just have a file that's maybe in 2 years, 3 years, I'll be like, I want to play this DLC again, but for the second time, and then it is exhausting. It's exhausting to play that way. Yeah. But look, I don't agree with those points in that game. But that is like for where I'm coming from with it. This is my this is something closer to the space I felt at 5 years old with Zelda 1, which I wouldn't feel now playing Zelda 1, because it is simple and I already kind of know all the stuff. Yeah. Like, it's like a one trick. The trick works once, unless whatever. We don't have to go into all that. But like, that's that unfulfilled promises as that game became more like what it is now, where it's like, oh, press this to equip the thing, and hey, go over here, and hey, go in this sort. Like, it's become another thing that I'm not super into. But like the Dark Souls series, and particularly Elden Ring, really like captured that for me. So I disagree with him on the end of it, but all his take, I think all his, even like all his, so far all his stuff on Elden Ring, I think he's correct about it. Even if it's not like it is that subjective objective thing. Like, it doesn't, you're not hurting my feelings playing the game. Like, you're right. It's just I value something different in that game. His Dark Souls, Demon Souls stuff so far so good. I can't wait to play Dark Souls 2. Yep. That's gonna be a shit. That's gonna be a shit show. No matter what he says, it's gonna upset someone. Like, how polarizing that game is I'm pretty excited. Hopefully that one comes out eventually.
Yeah. We had some points, right, Ludwig, didn't we?
Well, you did put down arcade sticks.
Oh yeah,
but I feel like that's.
Yeah. Well, what? We're talking about arcade sticks.
Well, did you have anything you wanted to ask, Edward?
Yeah. Well, I guess more like controllers in general. Like, I find that topic quite interesting, because like no one talks about it at all. It's very like, oh, you how should I say this? Like, so for example, I play, when I play shmups, I play with arcade stick.
Yes.
And the reason I do that is because, I mean, because like, what if you go look, everyone says that, oh, you should play with keyboard, obviously, because keyboard is optimal or whatever. Or actually, people say all the directions, but whatever.
Yeah. Theoretically.
But like theoretically, right? And it's like, sure, yeah, but like, it's like this experience with the game, right? And it's like the feedback from this thing that you move, like it maps better to what you're doing on the screen, and like it's just I don't know where I'm going with this. they're like it's more I guess it's more engaging or something. I don't know.
I mean, I think it comes down to it's more precise.
Yeah,
I think a couple things. So I do think arcade sticks are the superior way to control pretty much almost any 2D game. It's getting harder as like a lot of games are just like button bloat.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
It's like that's something that drives me insane. It's just like how many goddamn buttons do you need for stuff that ends up being superfluous, and then mapping it's really weird because like they're really counting on you having shoulder buttons.
Yep.
And it's like I don't know. Then that's the thing where like if I don't need to use the mechanic, it's like I'm not gonna use it if I don't have to. But like I think that yeah. So like part of the discussion is kind of ruined by this like nostalgia, but for nostalgia,
yes,
and a lot of people end up like, oh, you just like arcade sticks because it's like the way that it used to be, right? Now, like I told you guys before, like I happen to have grown up with them, so I am more familiar with them. So I'm open to that kind of thing. But I've learned to play with the D-pad. Like you can learn to play an arcade stick, and I have a mix box, and so the advantage to me is like I guess theoretically. If you play on a keyboard, theoretically would be the best.
Yeah.
Would be the like the most accurate, right? Now, I'm not that way because I actually am just more accurate with a arcade stick. But it's also the fatigue, right? Is that you're using more muscles. There's more muscles being used in an arcade movement than this, so you get fatigued really fast.
Yeah.
So I actually think over a long enough period of time that especially with the keyboard ones that are really cramped over like a hitbox style, like hitbox I could play on for a pretty long time, but I don't like
those are cramped like this. I feel like you like
they can be real. I have like the original hitbox.
Oh, the
like
wire, yeah,
big and like well spaced and stuff, but like the directions are different. So like up being jump here maps. Like I can make a logical map of that in a fighting game.
Right, yeah.
Like I'm pressing this to jump as opposed to pressing up to jump. But in a shmup, I can't do that. It literally doesn't make any sense. So I need to get that like, I need up to be on the top. And then, but still like your diagonals are only as good as you can press two keys at the same time. And I could do that better. My diagonals are way more accurate on arcade stick.
Yeah.
I don't think it's impossible, but more like the fatigue and the precision. I think is so much like you just have more muscles working on the project. I don't understand. There are players that are amazing and they kind of ruin the conversation because everyone's like, well, Gus uses a pad and Jamers uses a pad.
Yeah.
It's like you're not Gus and Jamers. You know what I mean? Like you're not them. like and the pad isn't making the pad isn't making them.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like I can't tell you they would be just as good, if not probably better, had they put all that time in for the stick.
Yeah.
Like it just I think biomechanically it's the superior thing, and the way that you can customize it and stuff. And customize it and bring it with you to every game that you play.
Right.
So I have at least now I have two sticks that are like very close, but that's it. So that's what I'm using for every game. Every arcade game that I'm playing has the same setup. Every 2D game has the same exact setup. So I'm very intimate with my controller. Whereas, well, I guess now Xbox 360 is just the default gamepad.
Yeah.
But in general, if you were playing a Super Nintendo game, it's gonna be different D-pad than a Genesis game, than this and this and this and that. So it does become part of you. It's more of like your extension plugging into the game rather than this like other interface.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was gonna bring up that I forgot about it, which is like because I got into arcade sticks basically to play like for shmups, right? So I only played on keyboard, mouse, or gamepad before that. And then, like, when I started out, I played with, like, an analog stick, which was terrible.
Yeah,
and then I played with, like, a D-pad, and then I was like... I mean, I don't know. I wanted to do that, and it was hard at first. But, like, what was really interesting to me with the arcade stick, it's, like, it's so personal, right? Because it's, like, you have... Like, with the pads and with the keyboards, it's like, yeah, you buy this... I mean, you can buy a pre-made arcade stick as well if you want, right? But, like, I can be, like... And I did, by the way, like, try a bunch, like, okay, this is the best one, right? And then I buy this big one, and it's like, nope, this is not the best one. And then it's like, okay, is this? Oh, this one is kind of nice. Is there something like this? Okay, yeah. Well, what if I make this?
It's its own hobby.
Yeah, exactly.
That,
yeah.
My God, I have so many. And one of my favorites is one of the first ones I got, which is its own kind of frustration. So, like, my most expensive lever. It's like a Sanjukes lever, and like I keep trying to like justify it by using it, and I don't like it as much as, I'm using my Shinsun right now, but just was the SELX, what the hell is it? The SELS-OX01 Saimitsu, which was like the third stick I bought, is still my favorite stick. I'm like, that was like $50. I spent like $200 on a lever or some shit. Like, oh my God, why did I do that? And I'm like, I keep trying to make it work. I'm like, let me just the grommet, let me just this, let me do this. And like, I can't plan it for shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really fun, can be a dangerously expensive hobby. But it has its own kind, that has its own kind of midwit curve too.
Yeah.
You know, as I think it does, but what is, you guys know the midwit curve?
No.
No, the midwit curve. Oh my goodness. Let me draw it for you real quick. Midwit curve is where you have like, it's like, okay, I did not draw the midwit curve. It's like this thing, right? And then you have, on this side, you have like a crying, well, your guys, you have like the angry, like, wow, this game, blah, blah, blah. Or no, you have like, no, I'm sorry, no, he's like a stupid guy. He's like a caveman guy. He's just like, he's just like, yeah, press the buttons, they're fun. You know, shoot stuff, don't get hit. I like the explosions. And then this guy's like the kind of Reddit, like, well, actually, you know, it's and then like the enlightened guy, they usually do like he's like a Jedi guy, and he's like saying the same thing as the caveman guy. Yeah. And that is kind of how it works. Is that you start out, you're like, yeah, whatever you feel good, play that. Whatever it's harder with. And then you're like, well, actually,
I'm gonna have
these things are a lot better. You get less fatigue, you get all this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like there is value to it. It's more precise. Your tap dodging's better. You need these kind of skills. And then by the time you get to the end, you're like, yeah, just play what feels good.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like I can play on a D-pad now. You know, because like my skill level's enough that it's just like it's less of an adjustment. But when I started out, the problem is like when you're like a beginner or in the novice mindset and you start to get into something, all those little things make a huge difference. Like lag is a massive difference. Like, okay, on the midwit curve, right? It's like here it's like just play the game. It's like no, there's like all this lag and all this kind of stuff, and it's like just fucking play the game. It's like when I don't know what I don't know. I don't know if I'm bad because of my controller. I don't know if I'm bad because of lag. I don't know why I'm getting hit, right? Yeah. So I think I'm getting hit because my controller's lagging. So I get a new controller. I'm like, no, I'm still getting hit, but maybe I'm getting hit less. But I'm also playing, so you can't tell which is the difference. And then it's like, then I get to like, there's 6 frames of lag here. So I'm not bad at Psycho games. There's too much lag in this thing. Right, so then I get a better version of that stuff, and then it's like, oh, my monitor, I need a better monitor. So like, eventually, I'm playing on a CRT with like the fastest input and all this kind of stuff, and I'm still getting my ass kicked. But like, once you get over that stuff, now I know it's me. Now I know I'm the problem, right? Now that it's not these other situations. Like one of the first bullet hell I ever played was a game called Ghostblade HD, and
I think I was in.
Yeah, that was the first one I ever. That was the first one I ever like got the clears in, but like when I was doing that, like I thought like my eyes didn't work. I was like, I can't see anything. I get hit, and I don't know what I got hit by. And I thought it was all like I didn't know what it was. I was like doing the taquito, like measuring my distance to the screen. I kept trying different angles to see if I could see this thing. I went to the I went to get a new glasses prescription. I'm like, give me a weaker prescription because I feel like I'm just too close to this kind of stuff. And it was just not knowing where to look. And like learning this stuff, but like when you don't know what you don't know is the problem. I think that stuff becomes really, really important. I think you have to go through these midwit curves to get to the enlightened part. If you don't go through the curve and you don't know why that's the right answer, you're not actually correct yet, right? Like you can draw the right conclusion, but if you don't know how you got there, if you can't show the work how you got there, you're not really going to understand why.
Yeah.
So yeah, whatever feels good.
Yeah.
Who cares? Yeah. So whatever you play good on. You know?
It's also interesting because like I feel like I see a lot of people get paralyzed by that, right? Where they're like, oh, what should I use? What's the optimal? And then it's like if you just played on whatever you have now for like 100 hours, and then you're like, okay, I want to do the other thing, it's still gonna be faster to learn the new thing than to sit here and think about if the other one is like more optimal. Because like, especially with shmups, like it's not like it's a input. Like sure, you need to be a bit precise or whatever with the movement, but it's not like very input demanding. It's very in your mind or whatever. It's like in your mind. It's like you need to read, right? It's reading the screen and like knowing when to do what and stuff like that, more than like input stuff. So it doesn't really matter which one you use if you're really good, right? I mean, it matters a bit, but like.
Yeah, it will matter when you know why. When you understand why it matters is when it will matter. It doesn't matter as much before then, besides what I was saying, where it's like now you just have excuses to make. You need to take those excuses off the table and get to like the real problem.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, maybe I don't this touches on the Matthew Matosis thing, but like it does in my brain because it's annoying. But like with the so going back to the lag thing, is it's like you can adjust to this stuff. Yeah. So like if you start to have this other factual, so like the Psychio ports is like a really common touch point because it's like I think it's some ridiculous like 8 frames of lag. Like there is a big difference on the input lag is real. That's there, but to the people that's like and this is like the perfect midway curve where it's like I'm not gonna play the Psychio game. You can do the face like I'm not gonna play the Psychio game. It's too much lag, right? It's like this sucks. There's too much lag, and then like people play it, and it's like I got my Gunbird clear on a Switch.
Nice.
Get used to it, Dace has like very hard, like max like full like hardest difficulty clears on Psychio games on a Switch port. You could do it, You can't do it, but not because of the lag, because something else. Yeah. And then when you get to the part where it's like by the time you get good enough, Visara is the better example, but like by the time you get good enough that the lag is a problem, then you understand why the lag is a problem. But if you're making an excuse why not to play it because there's the lag. And that's not why that's not why it's hard. Yeah, it's not a problem for you until you understand why it's a problem for you. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. This reminds me a little bit of when I was playing Dark Souls on my girlfriend's TV. So TVs are famous for having input lag, right?
Yes.
And that TV, I think it was especially bad because it had like half a second of input lag, like literally half a second.
Yeah.
And the thing is that you kind of get used to it, right? It's like, okay, I need to press half a second faster. And so this is actually really funny because this got me thinking about people who like complain about reaction times a lot, right? It's like, I can't play Dark Souls because I have bad reactions or whatever. It's like, there are people out there who play Dark Souls on a TV with half a second input lag. That's 500 milliseconds extra reaction time. Yeah. You don't need fast reactions to play Dark Souls, right?
Yeah, people adapt the interface. Like, I mean, it's beyond like just like you can. It's like remarkably so and frighteningly so. And I think that's probably another. That's why I mentioned the Matthew Matosis thing, because it's like he's creating like a blindness to this stuff. It's like, have you guys ever done VR?
I've tried it, but I don't have a VR.
Oh yeah, well, I tried it once.
Yeah.
Or
that's all you gotta do. But like, I mean, at least as long as you get the sense of like where you're like, it doesn't take much to trick my brain into thinking I'm there.
Yeah.
Like it's alarming how much I don't need anything to be that high resolution or anything to believe. Like if my head moves and the world moves, I'm pretty sure I'm in that reality.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. But like that is also what's happening in games. It doesn't need to be a real giraffe. I'm like, why doesn't this giraffe have bristles? I know giraffes and they make this noise. He's like a different like it doesn't make sense. But like you are like a brain in a jar in that world. It doesn't matter what the world is. It just has to be coherent and not break on just a very technical level.
Yeah.
And like certain like very few games are that bad that they're like jarring. Like you were saying, like any game you can sort of do that to eventually. Like if you pour enough of yourself into it, you will love a game if you play it for so many. Maybe it's like a love-hate relationship, but now we're getting into like, well, what's the difference between love and hate? What little chemical thing is the difference?
Well, I don't know about you, but every game I've played for like 1,000 hours, I say it's the worst game ever. So.
Oh yeah. Usually the best Steam reviews in the world are ones where the guy thumbs down this, and you see it's like 10,000 hours. You're like. What do you even say to that? That's such that's like that is the most real of the kind of that's the Midwood curve. Like that's the most real kind of reviews, I think. And like that, those aren't the only people we listen to. No other opinion matters. Like that's the perfect one. It is the like, oh, this is the best game ever, 0.2 hours, and like this is the worst game ever, 10,000 hours. Those are like that's like the real swing out of, or maybe the Midwood curve is the like I played this game for 10 minutes, it sucks ass. And they're like, no, it's actually really good when you get it. And then it's like, I beat the ass off this game and it sucks ass. Everything this guy said. Terminator 2 No Fate was the one that like, actually, no, I'm sorry. That's not true. Some Terminator 2 No Fate reviews had it correct from the first impression, and then some of them didn't. And then when you get to the end of it, they're like, yeah, no, they were right. There's nothing here. But some of them were like, it was back to that $60, like, what is a value? What is in a value kind of a thing where they're like, this game you could beat. Star Fox is going through this right now. Maybe that's just a little more hip and relevant. I'm seeing people say like Star Fox are like, how is it you beat this game in an hour? How is this worth $50? And it's like, because you didn't beat it. You know what I mean? Like, what is beat? Like beat to me, like I can't think of like if I beat the ass off a game, I know more about it than the programmer does. Is I beat this game. You know, it's like you didn't beat shit in an hour. Yeah, like you just didn't. You know. I mean, because that goes into all the other replayabilities and things of that kind of nature. But was that good for arcade sticks for a topic?
Yeah. Yeah. We went off topic, but we usually do, so it's fine.
Right on. I think I'm about wrapped up.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff, dude. I can't thank you guys enough for this.
No, thank you.
This was so cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad we had something to talk about because I was just like, is this like what are these guys up to? Why are they inviting me on a design show? I'm like I'm the this guy on the design Midwood curve. I'm like, I don't know, man.
No, you're actually on the other.
I'm like, no, man, make your game good. Stop making this part sucks. Make it good. Like, that's your feedback. I'm not gonna do well. This part deserves more study.
No, like I think
no, it sucks, man. Fix it. Like the way it's not my job to fix it. You fix it.
Yeah, no, like for me, the way you talk about games, I think is like really important to like we need more in that style, right? Where it's like you're really focusing on like all of it, not just this like, you know, how should it like you know, with the things we talked about where it's like the reviews where it's like, oh, whatever, and it's like
I think
very down to earth or whatever. It's like you're talking about your experience and like
I think I'm in space half the time. But I think we have to like have some kind of more, and I guess like I don't want to say like a vocabulary for the player experience.
Yeah, exactly.
That isn't this corporate. Oh, it's immersive. It's fun.
Exactly. Yeah.
All that's just got to go. I need to tell you about like what's going on in my brain, and then if you understand why I don't like this, I need to understand the full thought process.
Yeah.
Because ironically, like I might be kind of out there in terms of that, but it is the part that people relate to.
Yeah.
So I think we do feel like we're all feeling these things. We're all playing, like the people who are playing games are playing games. Even the people that aren't playing games are kind of like I think they can feel it, and it just comes down to like well, if someone else, even if you don't agree with it, it's like at least you don't feel like a crazy person who's completely on some other stuff because everyone's saying this one thing and you're like this isn't it, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't understand. And then but you can't say anything because then you know.
Yes.
You get, yeah. So I really appreciate that, and I do. I do hope that I can put more vocabulary out there, or more, even more myself. I can't review. Obviously, I don't really like reviews, but I can't like play every game. But I think that hopefully hopefully any influence that I can have to make people kind of think about it differently and be able to be less afraid to talk about their, I don't want to say talk about their feelings, but literally like how what's your part of this story and how much are you bringing to it? How much does the game deserve? How much does the game bring out of you? I think that'd be, I think it's helpful, and maybe it's helpful in design as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it is.
Hopefully. And your analogies, never stop with them. They're amazing. I love every single.
That's how my brain is wired. It's just that's how I think in my brain about stuff. So thank you. I really appreciate it, guys. I really appreciate you having me on. This is so cool.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Yeah, very nice.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
See you next week.